ukuthi sesikhona bulandi but ekhona ukuthi nabatlanzelele kuhlala kushamthetho namhla especially njengoba kulontsha imen's traditional parliament but phambi kwami nginababebheki ngoza ngitamniketa lethuba before siqhubeka phambili leta ninikete kancane uthi qaphu asho balaleli babukeli bethu ukuthi si expecta ini today ngisaqhubeka njalo baba Ngozi over to you.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu lesihlalweni ngibingelele yonke iSouth Africa ngibingelele yonke iMpumalanga kubo bonke labathole isikhathi sekuthi ba connect nathi namuhla simen sector samsana nebukhosi Mpumalanga traditional leaders kutobe kulonjwa ke namuhla ikulonjwa itraditional men's parliament sithokoza kakhulu ukuthi sikuwo lo mcimbi siyacela ukuthi sishare njengoba ashito bamasilela Mpumalanga provincial legislature ungangena lapho ukhonile xhumana nathi ku Facebook ukhonile futhi uxhumana nathi na ku YouTube Mpumalanga provincial legislature umcimbi wethu uyaqhubeka noma kanjani in few minutes siyaqala ikhona inkosi SG Ngomane lotobe asiphathele umcimbi wethu bakhona labaningi labasikathile siyabonga namakhosikazi siyawabona la legislator eMpumalanga siyabonga kubo bonke tinkhalo enkangala eGersibanze nayo yona ehlanzeni sithi kulabo labangafiki yiba nathi ngoba si live kusukela nyalo kude umcimbi uphele kuhle kumnanzi futhi nawe utotujabula kuba nathi si live Mpumalanga provincial legislature ngena lapho usithole ku Facebook usithole na ku YouTube uyaqhubeka umcimbi.
Asibonge kakhulu ngibabebheki Ngoza sengicela kakhulu eGersibande kusukela le ndasi eMkhondo khuphuka ushone bodipaliseng uhambe uye enkangala ukhuphuka from lebo Steve Chwe lebo Thembisile Dr Jess Morokwehle ushone ndasi la eBomalahleni uhambe ushone eBoLightenberg ngalebo Thabachwe ushone ndasi akhonuka eBushbuck Ridge sisho njalo ko onke ama district lamathathu la kakhona eMpumalanga sithi kuyendeka namuhla hlaliseka ungayinzawo nathi tindzaba letifuna wena lapha emakhaya sithi likhaya ngoba kunebandvu labakhona emakhaya sengicela ukuthi ni share le live broadcast ku Facebook Mpumalanga provincial legislature ku YouTube Mpumalanga provincial legislature itawuqala ngasekusana siyabonga.
Isaqala kanjalo angikhumbude kubonke labangenile kuyo iFacebook na kuyo iYouTube kanzi ke nakubo labakhona lana ukuthi sinawo emakhosi ala eMpumalanga athelekile ngetinkhani tindvuna tithelekile ngetinkhani ngani ngoba namuhla lilanga lelikhulu la kulonjwa khona itraditional men's parliament kuyimvokoto lenkulu kakhulu siyiMpumalanga province imen's sector sitfokota kakhulu kuhlanganyela nemakhosi kodwa kakhulu futhi kuhlanganyela nawe ungumhlali wala eMpumalanga sithi akube ngumcimbi lomhle kakhulu akube imicimbi lone lisasasa lelimangalisako ekugcineni kungabi ukuthi besimane sihlili nje kubonakale imiphumela kubonakale imhlahlandlela sibonakala siya phambili siyiMpumalanga ngoba iMpumalanga ngolapho kuphuma khona ilanga is where the sun rise kufanele ukuthi si benchmark noma kufanele sikhombise ukuthi kahle unit noma kuhlanganyela kwenda tindvo sikwenda kanjani sihlangane namakhosi sijabule kakhulu sihlangane na wonke umuntu civil society government wethu ikhona iMPAC Mpumalanga Provincial AIDS Council ikhona iSocial Development ikhona iCocta ikhona iControlesa bakhona bonke labakhona etindlini ngede ngakhona kubabala bonke ngemagama kepha donke tinhlangano na government wonkana sithokoze kakhulu ngede ngayikhohlwa yona iprovincial legislature ukuthi isinike lena ndzawo kanzi futhi ne platform lesitfolakala kuyo Facebook ithi Mpumalanga provincial legislature ungangena lapho unathi ulive Mpumalanga where the sun rise. Thank you.
Siyabingelela endlini sicela ukuthi mhlambe kuhlalisekwe. Siyabonga kakhulu kuleli thuba lamanje sitocela ukuthi sivule umhlangano ngeNational Anthem labadzala cishe sebayati ukuthi vele sicula njani iNational Anthem sonke siyasukuma kube njalo izigcoko tiyakhunyulwa sisathi masiqeda kuNational Anthem bese nje singakahlali phansi bese kuba na ugoba amakhanda sibe ne silent prayer ukukhumbuza bonke labasishile emhlabeni ngato tonke tinhlobo tetifo nawo konke especially ngale ku gender based violence kubulawa kwabamake nebantwana sitawucela ukuthi manje sale sisukuma sivula ngayo National Anthem. Siyabonga kahle phasi. Emakhosi aseMpumalanga yonke la khona la eParliament Mdunankulu wesifundza saseMpumalanga make Mtheni siyeva ukuthi ngathi khona lo actako at this time somlomo wesishaya mthetho sala eMpumalanga bakhosazana Dlamini Masilela bahlonishwa labaphethe ematiko make Lindiwe Ntshali siyambona la we social development make Busi Shiba siyacabanga ukuthi mhlambe khona sijoyene khona sibingelela nonke makhosi la khona endlwini ebaholi benzabuko la lidwa mhlawumbe sisho ukuthi namuhla njengoba ngila ku program director ngidawusho ukuthi vele nilidwa I deputy chairperson wendlu ebaholi benzabuko la eMpumalanga inkosi MC Mahlangu my members executive onke members Mpumalanga House of Traditional and Christian Leaders mo chairpersons yababona lapha bema local houses makhosi advocate Bimdluli siyabonga kakhulu naye ukhona acknowledge bantu bese ngithi nje ngimane ngibingelele nami ngendlela yakhona sihlala women's sector nelithimba lakho lonke babengoza tonke tikhulumi netivakashi letikhona la nalabasijoyinile ku virtual platform sanamukela namuhla kulomhlangano nayo ke I program yethu njengoba niyibona sidasi ngalelithuba ngalesikhathi lesi sinikete deputy chairperson of the House of Traditional and Christian Leaders la eMpumalanga uthi aninamukele kahle aphinze anibingelele siyabonga
ngiyathokoza sihlalo angithathele lithuba ngithokoze isigaba nami ngisinikezwako njengosekela sihlalo ukuthi ngizokwenza ama acknowledgement wenithekeli ngibuye ngizamukele ngokuzithoba indlu ehloniphekileyo ngokuthunywa indlu yobuholi bendabuko ngesifundeni seMpumalanga ngithi angithathe leli thuba ngisho ngithi indlu yobuholi bendabuko ngeMpumalanga ekhanjwa phambili inkosi uSG Ngomane nesigungu esiphezulu ngithunywe bonyana ngizokwamukela imithekeli zethu elangeni namhlanje ngokuhlonipha nokuzithoba okukhulu ubukhosi bonke bukhona hlangana nathi abosihlalo nabosekela sihlalo nengungu eziphezulu zama region nobukhosi bonke ngeMpumalanga ngithi bayethu ubuholi bethu bendabuko obukhona hlangana nathi angithi mhlambe in absentia indunankulu yesifunda seMpumalanga uma urifile Mthweni Tsipane nalabo abakhambisana naye bamsekeleko usomlomo wesibetha mthetho seMpumalanga uma Masilela usomkhandlo esinayo ehlangana nathi umnyango we social development uma uLindiwe Ntshali kunye nosomkhandlo wezokubusa ngokuhlanganela okuzwakala ukuthi uzaba nathi ngesikhathi esingaphelisi ihliziyo nangakamboni uma ushiba. Sibuye sibe no advocate Mdluli umvana Nkosi la Matala Nkosi ubhekiswayo mhlambe ngingathi ukuthi soon to be senior counsel ngoba siyamthanda. She will make senior counsel. Ukhona namhlanje is the acting secretary yesibetha mthetho ngeMpumalanga. Iminyango yonke ekhona hlangana nathi sinomnyango weSanek immense sector ubaba Ngoza nethimba lakhe neMPEC ikhona bonke ithimba labo elipheleleko. iContralesa ikhona nayo hlangana nathi isihlalo njenge hlangano ezobambisana nathi ngento ehlangene ngayo lapha namhlanje. Sihlalo angiveze ukuthi hlangana nathi bakhona nabo mabhalani benhlangano zokuhlukahlukana abasekeleko nabaphekelele ubukhosi bemihatsho abakhona hlangana nathi ngokuhlukahlukana sibamukele nabo sibahloniphe. Abomma bakhona hlangana nathi abazohlwaya indlebe langeni namhlanje ngoba kufanele nabo sihlalo siyabamukela njengenithekeli zethu. Angiveze sihlalo bonyana ngeni 17 zenyanga lesikiyo bekune national launch ye traditional men's parliament kwizolo lokhu eNorthern Cape beba launcha iprovincial traditional men's parliament. Dr. Khanaka uyaveza makhosami nendlu hloniphekile ukuthi kade kwasungulwa imen's parliament kodwa kwaba nento evelako ukuthi ingathi sishiya amakhosi emva. Akube kuhle ukuthi sibe nayo ne traditional men's parliament isibetha mthetho. Ingakho ke nathi sihloniphekile ukuthi inthekeli zethu sikhona namhlanje ngokuzobambisana nathi njengendlu pholi bendabuko ukuthi si launch iMpumalanga traditional men's parliament. Nase bathole ithuba bazeza bayichaza ukuthi izokukhamba njani kodwa okuhle ngilokho sihlalo ukuthi sibambisene neminyango ngokuhlukahlukana. Imen's sector ngaphasi kweSanek ibandemeza ubukhosi yabuye yabandemeza nomnyango okhanjwa phambili ngumma uLindwe Ntshalintshali i-department ye social development ukuthi ke sibonisana ngani nasibonisana ngalokhu indlu hloniphekile. Uthi uDr Khanaka singibo baba sithukuthele nakayibeka ngelimi lakanobayeni batsho we are very angry. We are a very very angry nation sisoke nje kodwa kakhulukazi abantu ababonakala banolaka ukudlula abanye ngithi thina bobaba. Indlela esinolaka ngayo izinto esizenzako ngizo ezikhomba bonyana sinolaka. Sibeletha abantwana sibuye sibabethe. Sibeletha abantwana sibuye sifuna sibabawe idini baba ncane njalo siyabakatelela. Abomma laba esithi siyabathanda siyabathatha siyabalobola senze konke ngokwesintu sibateke sibuye sibabethe sibenza ama punching bag. So ienga le basho sinayo le singibo baba isiveza ngendlela eziningi okumbi ukuthi siyenza sithi ngoba sikwatile ikhibe sihlukubeza abomma. Now uDr Khanaka uyayibeka ikhanye uthi ephasini lonke mazombe inarha yeSouth Africa ingu number 1 hlezi phezulu
nge-gender based violence and femicide. Ku-HIV and AIDS iphasi lonke sikhamba phambili, sina 8.2 million and counting per day, ngoba batsho ngelanga more than 1,500 yabantu basulelwa ngengogwane le ye-HIV. Ngokugula sikhamba phambili ephasini lonke nge-TB. Abantu abakwazi ukuhlaziya abahubhululako batsho indlela esinolaka ngayo singibobaba, ngaphandle kokuthi sibetha abomma, sibetha abantwana bethu, khoshime bere ababetella re ikhapeletsa mo bona ka Setswana, sibuye singafuni ukuthatha imchoga yokwalapha iTB, ngoba abantu ngobuningi abathatha iTB ngibobaba. Abomma bayathwayeleka kodwa bayaphola, thina sifuna ukuthatha imchoga indlela esithuthele ngayo nemchoga le asifuni, indlela esinolaka ngayo singibobaba. Sithola ingathi sisulela nabantwa bethu laba esizikatelela kibo nabomma laba esithi siyabathanda nge-HIV ngabomu, ngoba sithi thina singibobaba, sithi sikwateleni, sithukuthelise ngubani, usenzeni. Thina singathanda ukuthiweni namkha kwenziweni ukuthi sisuke emkhubeni emimbi leyo. Now sihlalo nendlu hloniphekile, ukuhlangana kwethu namhlanje kungilokho ukuthi njengoba i-men's sector ibawe ubukhosi ukuthi bubandamelane ne-men's sector, sibambisane nabo MPEC, sibambisane nabo SANAC njengenhlangano ezilwa ne-GBV, inhlangano ezilwa nokusulelana kwengogwana ye-HIV, inhlangano ezilwa nokungatshejwa kwengogwana namkha ubulwele we-TB. Sithini sizokubambisana njani? Siya njani phambili? Singathanda ukulatshwa njani? Sifuna umthandazo, sifuna umchoga wesintu, singathanda ukukhulunyiswa njani? Ngoba abomma bona bane women's charter, umhlolo banawo obawukhulumisa oveza ukuthi bona njengabomma bangathanda thina njengabo baba sibaphathe njani, bangathanda sibahloniphe njani, bangezwa kamnandi nasingalisi ukwenza ebengce. Na uvuke embhedeni ungasavuki ngehlangothini lokudla, uvuke ngehlangothini lesinxele. Thina singibo baba sithini? Now men championing change ikulumo evela ehlanganweni itakwani reime ethi ahlanganeni njengabo baba, kesiveza ukuthi kuyini lokho esingathanda ukuthi sibambisane ngikho, ukuze iSouth Africa ikwazi ukuthi ichuguluke isuke la ikhona le phezulu la kubonakala khona ukuthi ephasini lonke mazombe silandelwa iBrazil, nakukhulunywa ngephasi la abomma basaba khona ukuzikhambela ababodwa, thina singu number 1. Sithi sinomnotho, sithi sifuna abantu basuke enarheni zabo beze la ekhaya bazosivakatshela babe zinthekeli ukuze i-tourism yethu iye phezulu. Kodwa bathi bona sizokuya njani eSouth Africa siyohlala hlangana namadoda abetha abomma bababelethayo. Now sihlalo sengiyisonga isihwari sombhino esesaba mathambo amhlophe ungusubalikazi kimi ngoba ngithethe kwaXhosa, uma uBrenda Fassie uthi sukumbulala ngoba uzomdinga. Ingkhwari zombhino wegospel iIPCC bayibeka kabuhlungwana, bathi hela ngwaneso ke o rate byang umphamaqeba amakana, ke o rate byang uliditsele ke o rate bjang o mpha matitezo o mpha meogo le dikgaba o mmolai wa ka gilabo ababamba nge1 band bengiku SABC 2 ngizakuyela ku SABC 1 ngithi bathi yabo malaba ngikuthande njani ungibetha ngikuthande njani ungizwisa ubuhlungu ngikuthande njani ungikhipha inyembezi ngikuthande njani ungikhipha amanxeba bakhuluma nathi singibo baba bathi bayabawa ukuthi ake siboneni ngenye indlela imen's sector iyabawa ke bonda bezitha ngokuzithoba nokuhlonipha ukuthi sibawa ubukhosi ke buhlanganelane nathi ke sibonisana ukuthi nasi nobukhosi sizayigwema njani into yabo baba ababetha bomma bayabahlukumeza bayabagada bakwenza konke ukumbi babaphapha ngamazembe babenza inqebuqebu babafaka ngembhegeni bathi lokhu bakwenza for one reason or for two reasons inzathu zimbili bathi ngoba bona nabahlezi bahlangene banento ethi ubukhosi buyahlonipheka ubuholi bendabuko ukusuka nasemandulo na ukukhulume inkosi ilizwi eliphuma enkosini liyahlonipheka liyazwakala kasijwana khabo ba re lentsula khosi le aelwa mosako ke ka mo ba ipatumetse mo pela rena ka tlhombo le boikokobetso ba re tshwaragane le bona ya le ka men's sector nke re bona gore matsapa di a tseya kae a na re ke se ra gona re le bana ba tharentsho gore re fetsise botlhoko bo re fetsise ditlhaloganyo tsa rena tse dirang gore re betelle bomme re betelle bana ba rena ele mo le re a barata ke fetsa ka gore ke tsweletse gore re le amogetse mo thulaganyong ya gompieno e ban le rena ga re buisaneng ga re faneng tsebe re siamise lefatshe le la bo rona gore bomme ba re rate ba re bone ba re tlhompe le rena re diragatse fela yalo mo go bona ba yethe
Siyabonga kakhulu Deputy Chair Simshayile Tandla. Bese yachazile sela sihlalo wonke baholi benzabuko ukuthi sihlangane ngani sibuya kuphi kuze sifike la namuhla. Uyasho ukuthi ufuna sithandaze. Diningi indlela yokuthandaza la eAfrika. Vele emisi jali la kuthiwa ngesilungu we are living in a crazy environment. Sekuba khona lo leaderless lokuba khona la etindzaweni tethu konke lokho kwenta ukuthi bese kuba nalama atrocities leveled towards bomake nebantwana siyeva njalo nje emadvodza edlungula abulala abafati bomake nebantwana uthi mawubuka la kuma areas ethu sesikhuluma thina sibhekisa kuma rural nama semi rural areas ma tavern akhala usuku nemini left and right my neighbors uthola ifastero ezelisheka lishekiswa ma speakers bawakhiphe ngaphandle i-environment leyo that triggers a ingqondo lengacabangi le bese ingathi angathi ayisathathi kahle lokubona nje simple things like kujumpa kuma robot usamile nje umele robot li ready udlula imodi phambi kwakho nawe uthi awuthi nami ngene bathi ngilibele mina ngiyofika nini la ngiyakhona ngoba naba abantu bajumpa robot basheshe bafike akuna law enforcement ngile crazy environment lesiphila kuyo angeke ngikhulume ukuthi emaphoyisa nama traffic cop kwentekani ngoba angifuni ukudonswa ngelibheshu ukuthi ngihlale phansi kodwa we know ukuthi kwendekani I dumping of waste umuntu uyapaka endleleni uchitha insila nje ayichithe akwendi yini ukuthi bese lethi ingqondo tethu ngathi athathathi kahle le crazy environment ngilele funa ilungiswe sithi akubuye nani main sector come and help mhlambe ndisikhulume nawo ma politicians ukuthi asambe nisolungisa la kana ama leaders khona manje tindvuna tikhona bekwendeka phela kadzeni ukuthi uma uhamba uphethe isihlahla sithamba uma kuvela indvuna ubaleke uthi hey ushiye lesihlahla ubaleke bongasijuba isihlahla lesiphilayo isihlahla nato tiyakhuluma siphila kulenye environment ayinamthetho sifuna ilungiswe utobona babengoza into ehla lelo le violence le bu craziness lesinabo lesibonako la eSouth Africa sitakushiya ki umakhosi akhona la siyabona nje lamanyahleli ngale la ufuna kuhlala khona tivakashi kepha siyambona deputy chairperson we local house aseGertsibande na Hoshi Maluka lapha bakhona bahleti mhlambe laba lengababoni because leti phone uma susi kuyavuleka space batawusonzela kundaba ezitha ngesikhathi samanje sise asinikete babengoza babengoza usihlalo women's sector ufuna mhlambe asithathe asivule ingqondo ukuthi ngabe ufuna sibambisane njani nemen's sector ukuthi silwe nalento lembi kangaka esibona la eSouth Africa. Over to you.
Lo sesihlalweni ngitsanza ukuthi ibongela ngiyadehlisa phambi kwemakhosi phambi kwebuholi bethu benzabuko eMpumalanga ngedengani bala nonke bukhosi bami kepha angisho ukuthi simen sector siyadehlisa phambi kwenu futhi siyadiqhenya ukuthi sinani nisolela sive sethu ithi lapho nihlala khona siyabona ukuthi nidimisele ukuthi kuphele lokulesikhala ngako kungako namhla sinibona nikhona lana kulomcimbi wekulontsha iMpumalanga Traditional Men's Parliament. Ngiyababona bonke ema officials government kuma departments lahlukahlukene lenge ngibasho ngamagama bababalile siyabonga kakhulu simen sector ukuthi ona ema departments government wethu ukhonile ukuthi abe nathi ukhonile kuba nathi sisaqala siuplana lo mcimbi lona kwakhombisa ukuthi sihlangene siMpumalanga we are still united and we will be striving our utmost best to remain united so that each and everything that is coming in front of us as a problem will be able to tackle it together angeke isehlule men's sector yonkana kuma district onke leadership this is wonderful your efforts angeke awele pass siyathi ukuthi angeke sibe 100% but at the end of the day if we are doing something we are doing a difference asihlangane njalo leadership sihlangane namakhosi sihlangane nahulumeni wethu siqhubeke sikwende lokho kungiloko itakuwane rime lekhuluma kona sikhona ke simen sector from nationally go onke ema provinces siphethe imessage le1 siphethe itakuwane rime I-program lesihamba ngayo from nationally lenema objectives la khona ukuthi asihlanganise sonke ngani ngoba itakwane rime isho ukuthi let us all stand up together. Why are we standing up together? Is because we want to ensure that if we all stood up, we facing any challenge that comes across, that challenge will never win. Our objectives, as Itakwana Rima says, institutionalizing men's organization working in the field of health and social development. As the men's sector, we are a men's sector because we are made up of different organizations in Mpumalanga province, organizations that are working on the field of health and social development, and working on HIV, AIDS, you can name it, and all social ills. We are making sure that those organizations are formulating in men's sector. We are that structure which has those organizations. We want to advance the South African Men's Charter. From a national level, we do have the Men's Charter that is talking to each and every man in South Africa. That Men's Charter is still in an advanced stage. We know that each and every one is participating on it, and everyone even here can participate in making that Men's Charter a success, and in making that Men's Charter a sound charter for all men in Mpumalanga province and in South Africa. Women have got their charter, because Bami, Honorable Mahlangu has mentioned that women has got their charter. As much as we men, we are advancing that charter. That was one of our objectives too. We want to promote the men's health campaign and 365 days of activism program of action. We don't want to leave any day, even if it's a leap year. We want to ensure that even on that leap year, we are promoting 365 days or 366 days of activism. We don't want to see any woman beaten in all these days, or in any minute, or each and every hour. We might not be in our houses, we might not be in where we are at night, but if you have got your self-introspection, you have got the self-esteem, you think about yourself, that everything that I might do here as a man, it can go out and make the name of a man a bad name. We are so proud to have Bukosi, the traditional leaders, to be with us here, because we know that Bukosi, they are organizing Mimemo, they have got meetings with men in their traditional cross. We know that once the traditional leaders are with us, in those meetings, they will render an item about gender-based violence. They will render an item about women and children abuse. Because traditional leaders, they know that if we are the leaders, we don't want to lead the crying nation, or the crying community, or the crying woman. They don't want to lead the children whereby they are not safe. They feel that they are not safe under your leadership in that traditional crawl. Another objective is to support awards and men who are renowned social developers and investors. We have men in Mpumalanga, men who are doing extraordinary jobs. We need to join hands and acknowledge those men and award them if it has to. Either that man is in government, either that man is in traditional, either that man is in sports, either that man is in religion, everywhere. But if it's a man who is making a difference, we need to acknowledge them, so that we will have more men who are doing that. Leadership, traditional leaders. Allow me to share with you in the next 2 minutes as I am finishing this. We have got the program of action, the men championing change. That's our program of action. We want to ensure that in Mpumalanga we have got a quarterly traditional men's parliament, which we are going to sit quarterly. We have got 60 traditional houses in Mpumalanga. I hope I am right, SG Secretary, because at the end of the day, we need to ensure that we reach that target. Quarterly, we are going to do that together with EMACOS. And our program of action, District Men's Parliament 30 biannually, we want to make sure that we also do a men's parliament. Because we are going to do men's parliament, we are also going traditional men's parliament. We want to be everywhere. Remember, this is Takwano Rime, institutionalizing men's response. So we are going to make sure, as our program of action illustrates. Leadership. I want to emphasize this, that we're starting this journey working with the traditional leaders in this program of Takuano Rime, whereby we are saying everyone must stand up. We will be with Bukosi. We want to make sure that Bukosi is invited in our meetings. In our sub-district, men's sector must invite Bukosi. In our district, men's sector must invite Bukosi. In a provincial level, men's sector must invite Bukosi. Working with our government, we want to also make sure that we work with Bukosi. Going to men's parliaments, going to activities that we are doing in a country, we need to, in a province, we want to make sure that we work with Bukosi. The last part that I want to raise, because Bami, is that men's sector does not discriminate. Men's sector do not want to see whereby the LGBTQ community in Mpumalanga being abused, being tortured. As men in the province, all the districts, sub-districts, in our houses, in our homes, maybe we have got children who are in that community. We need to support those children. We need to love those children, because as men, we are supposed to be men of dignity. We are supposed to be decent men, ensuring that not in our sight, whereby we are looking, not in our streets, not even in our home, whereby we allow or we look people abusing or torturing our LGBTQ community. Let's ensure that we also treat we also treat well people living with disability. We will be that man, and we are those men. Thanks a lot, Program Director. I don't want to waste one more time. And I really want to say thank you, and let this event today be an event that leaves footprints which we are going to look back and say this is where we stepped on, as much as we are sending the message to the times that we will not see, because there are times that we will not see whereby they will be reading the history, and we don't want people to read the history of men being trash. We live it today here. We are joining hands with Bukosi. We are moving forward. We are destroying the name trash. Thank you.
Siyabonga kakhulu Baba Ngoza. Indeed uyibeke kahle uthi sinemimemo emakhosini. To meet and condemn GBV, Makosam, is nothing more than calling a meeting in the community to talk about the challenges that we are facing in the community. This call is not new. It means just to revert back and check sibuke ukuthi la mihlangano yasemakhaya isasenjengoba na isasupporteka mhlawumbe kuseta dona timbunga kuphindze kute nayo iyouth kule mihlangano isesekhona yini into lesitoyibuka sithathe forward. Adding to emimemeni njengoba usho Baba Ngoza, sitawubuka ukuthi angeke yini ukuthi kube nehlelo lelithe every year lelibukane nalokho, or we just sit together in our program le. Siyabonga kakhulu, sishaya intandla futhi sishayele Baba Ngoza. Lesikhathi manje sicela Mr. Elfas Nkosi, Head of Secretariat, Provincial Council on AIDS. Asonze lapha.
Angibonge sihlalo wendwe makhosi enzabuko indaba ezitha ngomani ngibingelele nandaba ezitha mahlangu lolisekela lasihlalo wendwe makhosi enzabuko ongemakhosi la khona la tindvuna letikhona la ngibingelele na ndvunankulu in absentia bingelele na somlomo weliphalamende la Mpumalanga Honorable Make Makhosazana Masilela ngibingelele na Honorable MEC Charlie we social development ngibingelele na MEC we social development now onge noma bonke bobabili abakhona la ma officially labuya kumatiko lahlukahlukene ngiyanibingelela nonke kuyinvodokodo ke kithi namhla kwekuthi sitohlangana la Mpumalanga Provincial AIDS Council ngaphansi kwebuholi noma kwasihlalo longu Honorable Premier me refilwe Ntwenitsipane a cultural structure noma lihlaka lolu na provincial chairperson we civil society kodwa ke ngifuna kusho kucace kwamanje ukuthi sina interim focal person lokungumake isonto Nkosi kwanyalo civil society isati hlela kahle masinyani tabaseyikhetha lo tawumela civil society lo toba ngu-chairperson provincially lo to tsinaseka khethiwe buye ahlale nandvunankulu eku sharing the structure chairperson ngingakayi phambili ku nemfundisi Reverend Jesse Jackson Siyamati it's a human rights activist uthi nakabhala lelinye langa noma nakakhuluma uthi we are not men because we can make babies but even test tubes can make babies but we are men because we are responsible, accountable. We make our women pregnant, we look after them, we clothe them, feed them, and above all, protect them. Udefine indoda ngaleyo ndlela ukuthi uma ngabe ukuthiwa uyindoda awugcini nje ngekuthi kuthiwe sone bantwana kodwa uyadlula lapho wende isiqiniseko sekuthi ikhala lakho yalinakekela bantu bakho yabanakekela lomngakho uyamnakekela ubavikele wende isiqiniseko sokuthi bathola lokho kuthokomala indoda sibili leyo nakayichaza yena Slalo Mpumalanga Provincial AIDS Council is a coordinating structure a multi-sectoral response to HIV, TB and STI as informed by the National Strategic Plan for HIV, TB and STI 2017-2022. This structure is chaired by the Honorable Premier Mary Ntwenitsipane with Ms. Sonto Nkosi co-chairing as the interim focal person for civil society for now, as I've already alluded to. At district level, the AIDS councils are chaired by the executive mayors and co-chaired by the district chairperson for civil society, up to the level of a local. Mpumalanga has got 3 districts, which is Ehlanzeni, Nkangala, and Gersibande, and has got 17 local municipalities. All the 17 local municipalities as well are chaired by the executive mayors of those local municipalities. Currently, we have 3 fully functional district aids councils and 16 out of the 17 local aids councils are functional. We're still having a challenge, a serious one, at Likwa local municipality. But we working hard with the administration Yaselikwa to ensure that the AIDS Council is revived and comes back to perform its mandate as it is expected. Who constitute the AIDS councils at all levels? Silindele kwekuthi sibe ne-organized labor, faith-based organization, house of traditional leaders, traditional health practitioners, media, academic and research organizations within health sector, developmental partners and NGOs, people living with HIV, institution of high education, women, government departments, both provincial and national led, private sector, children's sector, the youth sector, men's sector that has brought us today here, the LGBTIQ plus sector, sport and entertainment sector, legal and human rights sector. These are the people that we are looking at forming or participating and contributing in each AIDS Council at all levels. Our mandate as a coordinating structure, we are not an implementing agent. We are a coordinating structure. Our main purpose of the AIDS Council is to bring together all relevant stakeholders so as to develop and implement through local AIDS councils comprehensive community-based multi-sectoral programs that identify and manage area-specific determinants and impacts of the epidemic. The AIDS councils bring together government departments and the different sectors, which is business, NGOs, the religious group, all those that I've already mentioned to say they form part of the AIDS Council. Having done that, it ensures that skills, financial resources and material resources are pulled together to ensure that no gaps or duplication exist in the local HIV, STI and TB program. This further ensures that all policies and programs are developed and sufficiently addressed the challenges presented by the epidemic on the ground. Our work is guided by the 3-1 principle of the United Nations. The 3-1 principle talks to one national coordinating structure. In this case, at national level, we've got the South African National AIDS Council, which is a national coordinating structure for all multi-sectoral response. And the second layer of the 3-in-1 principle is one national strategic plan that guides the entire country. And we do have the national strategic plan for HIV, TB, and STI 2017-2022. And the last leg is one M&E framework that assists us to collect data and analyze data and inform, our future response in terms of how best can we use the data and the findings in terms of the data analysis so that we better implement our programs and plan them much better, because data will then inform us. It is within that context that when we talk of one national strategic plan, we're talking of a plan that has got clear national goals, clear strategic objectives, clear leadership and governance, as well as a well-costed plan. When we talk of a one national coordinating authority or agency, we're talking of coordinate multi-sectoral response at national, provincial, district, and local level. And we are also going as far as the ward level to ensure that our councillors are actually taking full responsibility in terms of the ward AIDS committees, and that the agenda of HIV, STI, and TB is elevated, even in the war rooms. We facilitate the development at the level of one coordinating structure is to facilitate the development of the national strategic plan. At the provincial level, the provincial implementation plan. At the district level, the multi-sectoral district implementation plan and the multi-sectoral local implementation plans. We also monitor the implementation of the NSP, PIP, MDIP, and MLIPS, and we review progress on the implementation of the NSP and the MDIP. Slalo, we've just had our midterm review from 2017-2019, which was done in the province, and it was presented in our last MPEC sitting, which was actually highlighting areas where, as a province, we are not doing well. But it is quite encouraging to note that in terms of new HIV infection, according to the midterm review findings, is that there is a steady decline in the number of HIV new infection in the province. But however, so there's still a lot to be done around that. As we perform our activities, we are guided by the country's long-term vision of the National Development Plan, as well as the Vision 2030. That talks about an AIDS-free generation. This can only be achieved when we come to a level of all of us reporting that there is no new HIV and TB infection. There is no new vertical transmission. There is no AIDS and TB related deaths, and there is no stigma and discrimination against people living with HIV and any other person in South Africa. The National Strategic Plan has got 8 goals that we are monitoring its implementation as a coordinating structure. Goal number 1 is accelerating prevention to reduce new HIV, TB, and STI infection. Goal number 2 is to reduce morbidity and mortality by providing easy access to treatment, care, and adherence support for all. Goal number 3, to reach all key and vulnerable population with customized and targeted intervention. And goal number 4 is to address social and structural drivers of HIV, TB, and STI infections. Goal number 4 is us ensuring that we are grounding the response to HIV, TB, and STI in human rights principles and approaches. Goal number 6, promoting leadership and shared accountability for a sustainable response to HIV, TB, and STI. Goal number 7 we need to ensure that resources are mobilized to support the achievement of the NSP goals and ensure a sustainable response. Goal number 8 is strengthening strategic information to drive progress towards achievement of the NSP targets. We also understand that the goals on their own cannot actually achieve what we've actually set for ourselves. There are 5 enablers that if we were to achieve our goals, we will have to look into those enablers. Sometimes we regard these enablers as goal 9 because they are also playing a very critical point. The enabler number 1 is maximization of efficiency through effective integration of HIV, TB, STI services and information. Enabler number 2, building resilient systems, including families, communities, human resources, information and procurement, and supply chain systems and quality assurance. Enabler number 3, research and surveillance to advance knowledge and evidence, informing action through continuing learning, improvement and innovation. Enabler number 4 talks of establishment of an effective monitoring and evaluation system for data-driven action. The last enabler is establishment of capacity for a comprehensive national and social behavioral change communication capability. Now that we are gathered here, Chairperson, as men's sector and as the House of Traditional Leaders, we're from here. We are, as MPEC, I've already alluded to the fact that we did our midterm review for in 2019, 2017-2019. We are actually currently finalizing the MDIP reviews and MLIP reviews for 2019-2020. In October, we are looking forward to starting the review of the MDIP and the MLIPs for 20 and 2021. It is within this context that we would really appreciate if the House of Leadership could actually form part. But what we will then do through the structures that are existing, the local AIDS council, we will share with the Honorable House of Traditional Leaders the dates and the sittings of the various AIDS councils so that it is actually informed and Bundabezita are actually represented accordingly at all levels, provincial, district, and local level. We are looking forward to the introduction of all the newly elected sector leaders in the local and district AIDS councils have indicated that civil society is reviving itself. Once the leadership has actually been established, we will then ensure that they participate at all levels as they are expected to. The House of Traditional Leaders will also assist us in delegating Bundabezita to sit at District AIDS Council sitting as well as at local AIDS Council sittings so that they actually form part, because we feel they have got a very critical and important role to play as they interact with their constituents on the ground. We also want to encourage that we take a position in a very strong stance in the fight against gender-based violence and femicide at all levels. And we are really appreciative of the fact that the men's sector has already started this process, but we want to call upon every stakeholder to get involved so that we champion and deal with this scourge of gender-based violence and femicide. And this cannot only be reduced to the 16 days of activism against abuse of women and children, but it has to be a program that is undertaken, for 365 days, as the chairperson has said. The men's sector is to assist in encouraging men of Mpumalanga to take advantage of the Check Impilo campaign to access health screening and testing services. our records and our stats are actually indicating that men are actually lagging behind, be it in the uptake of vaccination, be it on the uptake of any government services that is actually offered. Men are very reluctant to come for health services, especially health services. When you see men coming for health services, you must know ukuthi hayi sekunzima ke manje sekungeduluka kwenda onke ma means isahlulekile. Or alternatively uma ubona indoda yakadokotela is either ifuna i-sick note, but akusi ngekhathi kithi nje ukuthi umuntu nakagula alingise bomake make angeva nje kunwayisa ngasikhathi nathi singubufakazi singuba besihleli la ukuthi hayi make nje angeva kwangathi ukhona okungahambi kahle kancane so sukumile so eclinic so yakadokotela ngoba ufuna kwathi kahle kamhlophe ukuthi yini lemphazamisako akafuni kuyinika lithuba lokuthi ize iqhubeke kakhulu and lokuyinto lenhle kakhulu siya encourage ke bobabe ukuthi kwangathi nabo banga adopt that health seeking behavior ukuthi ba sebenzise uhulumende ama services are available siyacabanga ukuthi namanje njengoba siyovota bekuvotwa bekubhalisela kuvota lamalanga laphelile nesiqiniseko sokuthi uma ungathi uyohlola kulaba labayile kuyohlola ukuthi bakhona nana noma babhalisile ungathola ukuthi boba bebancane labayile bonakala kwangathi sisalele emuva kanzi lo mdzala wemalanga nakasidala wathi sitawuba inhloko sitawu leader siyacabanga ukuthi lo mhlangano utasisita ukuthi sibiyele sothatha iposition yethu ekuleader si lead by example kuko konke sibonakala sihamba phambili sikhombisa indlela sengcina sihlalo ngiloke ukuthi ama community dialogue kumele ukuthi siwende nabo babe ikakhulu kade nebafana kuze ukuthi bafana labakhula konyalo bangakhuli ngalendlela mhlambe bobabe labakhule ngayo kodwa nje sikhone kubuka lesimo sibuke ukuthi yini irole emuntu lomusha sihlalo ngimela njengemuntu lo wakhuliswa ngimake yetfana kodwa lengikuthanzile ekukhulisekeni kwami ngilokwe ukuthi make usifundise lokho ukuthi uma ugqokile impahla yangcola kumele uwashele kodwa nje itolo besathi nje ukuthi uma ngabe impahla ingcolile utawuthatha utibeke kutawuthi make noma sesabe siyawasha na ulambile utawuze ubute nasesi ukuthi sesidlani waye ungakaphiki kwangazi ukuthi kupheka bekuyinto lebekelwe bantu besifazana kodwa ke ngiyacabanga ukuthi ngilethini lokufanele sihlungise ukuthi kuclean endlini akusihlazo kufike ekhaya usebende upheke uwashe indishi uma ngabe kungukuthi ukhona unesikhathi ufikile akekho lokumele abeke emabhodetiko angikuboni kuhla ngilenwele ukuthi sifuna sikhulumisane ngayo ukuthi umuntu angaza kwate advube ngoba na uthi yadubuka letinye ehlakalo uthola ukuthi lo mfana nje ukwatiswe nje ukusilayikhaba kapheki kwangathi yena kanadandla ukuthi kungaze kusuke kucatshwane kakhulu azashayina sesiwakhe nje net ngekuthi sesaka kapheki and na uthi yabuka kudla kukhona kusenyiwe la ekhaya into tonke letinto lokufuna ukuthi sihlale phansi sikhulumisane ngato kuze ukuthi sizame kwakha lo mphakathi wakithi and siyacela kakhulu ukuthi i-men sector ayiphume ihambe yengaphandle yena isiqiniseko sekuthi njengoba siyathi ukuthi i-men sector iyabonakala ukuthi i-sector lehlelekile lesicela kuyo ke si-provincial health council lokuthi ayihambe yohlala phansi yendi audit is consolidate ilist ema organization that are working in the field supporting le program lesiranayo ngoba phela nasikhuluma ngesector isector into ama organizations singajabula nje kwathi ukuthi mangake ama organizations men sector la khona kumasipala ngamunye sibe naleyo database ukuthi asisita kakhulu siyabonga kakhulu sengigcina ngihlala phansi sihlalo ngifuna ukubonga kakhulu ku Marcos ethu eMpumalanga ukuthi kusebenzisana kwethu nabo soloko kuyachubeka and siyacabanga ukuthi sitawuchubeka sisebenzisane ngifuna ukutshela bobabe labakhona la ukuthi lamagama ngiwasho ngoba emakhosi ativulile netindloto emakhosi sibe nemihlangano leminingi ngoba ngasikhathi kuba nenkinga abathi abantu sifuna siceleni isibukheli hotel siyohlangana sifuna indzawo kodwa nje lesikubonile nalesifuna ukubonga kumakhosi ukuthi tindlu tawo akusidi indlu demakhosi nje kuphela indlu demphakathi uma nifikile nacela indzawo yokuhlanganela bayadivula tandla basinike indzawo kuhlanganyele sibe nawo imihlangano tindlini demakhosi siyabonga kakhulu makhosi enzabuko lokubambisana lokusebenzisana lokukhona kwangathi kungachubeka ke phambili ngiyabonga sihlala
siyabonga kakhulu Abengosi, indeed, while we have the best HIV/AIDS programs like South Africa, into lesishoda ngayo sishoda ngala masiko, we lack the culture, nama customs, nemihambo. Akunama limitations like South Africa when it comes to ukushela indlobi. Uyibike ekhaya uyilobole uvele nje ume nje la estradini uthathe nje uyathi angathi uthi kwendekani kule live kuya ngokuthi uhamba ngani noma ugcokeni kunenzawo eMozambique lapho khona kuba mahloni lokuthi wafika uthola nje intombi estradini uyishele iyakubuta ukuthi ukhulume nabo bani bakithi bathi uya lapha kulabo make ufika uthi ngilana ngifike kule ndzawo la ngibona ngathi ngidawuhlala sikhashana ngathi utafuna ukuthi kube khona lo ngihlalisabo mhlambe ngidawugcine ngiyakhile nokwakha la kulendzawo bese bathi awu sitahamba sikufunela indzawo le khona ya exist so awumani nje uthathe nje bamangala ukuthi lona ubuyaphi lo so kuba ngiloko ke mihambo leyo ma limitations can cause us to delay to be in sexual behaviors mhlambe let's say langasikahle it has delay ama limitations ukuthi siye emacansini njenge youth kakhulu siyabonga kakhulu babe Nkosi sibambene njalo solo sibambene njalo ne-impact sashumayela tindzaba kutivikela kwamadvodza ufikele bomake ku-HIV/AIDS kuyabonakala ukuthi ngathi solo umatima kukhona lokungambi kahle eSouth Africa in terms of loku spread kwe-HIV/AIDS mhlawumbe we need to get deeper sibuke ukuthi what other platform can we use mhlawumbe bathi ngesilungu we may be barking the wrong tree asibona singalungisa njani siyabonga Nkosi sesitangena ama messages of support siyabona la kule program babhale bo 5 minutes sacela ukuthi vele labantu ongena abakhulume bazame nje ukuthi babe within that time ngoba sibona ukuthi mhlawumbe ufuna bahlonitsha abakhululeke bakhosi akhululeke labanye bahlala khashani kude kutohambeka kusakhanya. The next one, messages of support. The first one would be Mr. Sizwe Hlongwane, Deputy Chief of Party, VMMC program of Party Right to Care in Mpumalanga. So nzela baba, siyabonga.
Angithathele thuba ngibingelele amakhosi akhona la endlini sithi bayede kunina nonke sifuthi sibingelele ubuholi beprovince obukhona MEC okukusobo okukhulu siyanibingelela sibingelele ozakwethu abakhona bavela kuma department ahlukene siphinde sibingelele nabo bonke abakhona endlini mhlambe esingazange sikwazi ukubamemeza noma sibathinte ukuthi bawobani siyanibingelela nonke siyabonga kakhulu lo mephambi kwenu uSizwe Hlongwane ovela kwinkampani ebizwa ngokuthi Right to Care okuyinkampani ephathelene nezempilo esibe kuyona le province iminyakana eminingana sinobudlelwane ke nomnyango wezempilo okwenza ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi sisize lapha ya kwi HIV management program and sibheke inhlangothi ezimbili prevention as well as and care and treatment ubudlelwane bethu ke busenza ukuthi futhi sikwazi ukuthi sisebenziselane ne Provincial AIDS Council and if usibheka nje njengenhlangano ekhona la sine staff esu 800 but 700 of those staff members are actually based here eHlanzeni because we are a prime recipient in the HIV care program. So which means that in the coordination of HIV prevention interventions, we are the ones that are doing that purpose in this province. In other areas, we are doing HIV prevention, which is focusing on voluntary male circumcisions. It is for that reason that if you look in Kangala, if you look at Kharsibande, we are partnering with the traditional sector in rolling out traditional male initiation, as well as advocating for men to come through to interact with the health sector through the voluntary male circumcision. Ama programs ethu ke esinawo kule province mane eyokuqala is HIV prevention njengoba sengishilo eyesibili siya participate futhi naku vaccination campaign eyesithathu it's care and treatment and then eyesine it's dreams program sinezinto ke ezisisebenzise ukuze sikwazi ukuthi si offerisha ama programs ethu ngendlela informed by data. One of them is decentralization of distribution of medicine. La city khona si offerisha I solution kwimphakathi esekude namadolobha by creating or distributing ama center amancane abizwa ngama locker noma ama ATMs la ufike uye khona ufike ucofe mase ukwazi ukuthi uthole imithi yakho lo idingayo particularly chronic medications. So that is the solution that is available. It's being rolled out in this particular district. Enye is a GIS technology, geographic information systems, where we are saying that if you are working in the HIV prevention sector, you need to know the character of the community that you are working with, and you need to know the target audience that you're dealing with, itolagalaphi and yobani ukuze ukuthi ama solutions akho abe informed ukuthi labantu odila nabo ba abantu abanjani and badinga ukusizakala kanjani. Sengcina ke as organization city ubudlelwane esibusebenzisayo ne Department of Health busazoqhubeka and njengoba manje sisikhuluma ngokuthi amadoda ayakhuliswa ayaqeqeshwa and ayashintshwa ingqondo yawo ukuze aparticipate emphakathini ngendlela irresponsible igaba lethu le VMMC program as directed by National Department of Health is actually migrating now to a men's health approach where we are saying ukuthi if we indoda because sekubonakalile uzakwethu beshilo ukuthi amadoda awezi enkundleni zezempilo. So if you indoda ufika enkundleni zeVMMC uyakwazi ukuthi usizakale ngayo yonke inhlobo. Uyakwazi ukuthola izinto zokupreventa HIV, uyakwazi ukutreatwa for any minor ailments, uyakwazi futhi ukutreatwa for STIs, uyakwazi ukunikezwa PrEP, all those things. That's a approach that is available, that is being rolled out as directed by National Department of Health, and we are part of it as Right to Care. Elokugcina sengihamba ngithi indoda umuntu onjani? Indoda umuntu owaziyo ukuthi uvelaphi, oncelile kuma wakhe kodwa oncele ulwazi lakho umphakathi. Sithi iDNA that is encoded in us, it should actually make us men that come with solutions that are protecting the community. Inkinga esibhekene nazo manje sithi indoda ayichoose ezempilo ukuze ivikele umphakathi. Siyabonga kakhulu.
Makhulu babehlongwane intervention yenu kule traditional male circumcision contribute kakhulu kule recognition of ingoma culture. Namuhla we have Initiation Act. Nje sikhuluma nje simatasatasa, we are trying to form le committee lefuna ibukane nengoma la eMpumalanga lefakwe ekhathi kule act lesaning president of the country. Excuse me. So that's where we are manje, because of my collaboration nokubambisana nebantu abanjengani. Soon nje kutoba vele ayinokuthi soon akusasemthetho mhlambe uyaboshwa uphula umthetho uma usuka nje uwende ingoma ungakalandzeli imigomo letsite. Maphoyisa sekane sandla manje lesikahle ukuthi ba arreste labo labenda ingoma nje haphazardly. And the committee will be announced very soon. Kuhambe kahle kuletindzaba tengoma. Siyabonga kakhulu for your intervention. Our next speaker message of support is Babebheki Khoza. Ubuya ku Broadreach stakeholder manager, is a manager ku Broadreach stakeholder rather. Siyabonga. Siyabona ngathi yakekho babekhoza. Bukhona visual. Okay, ngabangekho singene ku babe Raymond Mieni, development partners LGBTIQ community.
Greetings, Chairperson, members of the House. Allow me to extend my humble salutation, not in my personal capacity, but also echoing many voices of the LGBTI community, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, and queer community across the length of the breadth of this glorious province. Since the beginning of 2021, a total of 18 LGBTI brutal murders have been reported across the country, with some coming out of this province. The community views these horrific incidents as a threat to our community, constitution, freedom. Queer persons are constantly living in fear of our lives. I do not think this House should comfortably continue as though it's business as usual. As a custodian of our Constitution, I remain your responsibility to protect its integrity and the dignity of living in South Africa. The senseless massacre of queer persons must come to an end. Speakers, allow the call upon members of this House to stand and defend the queer persons whom, for as long as our history of political struggle and the emancipation of black people can stretch, have been sidelined and disenfranchised. The community still faces secondary victimization when it attempts to access government services. Studies continue to demonstrate that queer persons, among the other things, are afraid to report abuse, discrimination, and other crimes because fear installed by many law enforcement officers. The community of trans persons in particular still don't have access to trans-specific healthcare in many of our public health facilities. This tells a story of constitution democracy that is just documented. We look to you as policymakers and advocate for the safe South Africa for us. You need to influence and place attention on agency to the National Assembly to conclude the hate crime and speech bill. The legislative framework, we believe, we will help address every same brutality. In conclusion, speakers, I would like to leave the House of Traditional Leaders with a reflective question to say, how do leaders, religious and traditional institute and communities leading the voice of reasons and calling an end to the violence, discrimination, brutally directed to members of the community in the name of religious and cultural tradition. Thank you. And in Savala, I'm glad ukuthi MEC wethu khona ukuthi siyabona ama programs akhona. Most of the time they talk about heterosexual people. Where do you put us as the LGBTI community? Because there's MMC, it only speaks about men. Yes, we may be trans, we may be gay, we may be lesbian, but we still want to fit in the programs. Please, we would like you to look at the program further going on. And ngiyacela nani because challenge. Next time we come back here, ngifuna kuva ukuthi bangakhi bantu lenibanikile bebulili lobufanako labahlala la nihlala khona lenibanike tindlu naleni bashadisile ngokwemthetho. Ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga kakhulu angikude ungathi ungishaya Raymond ngathi babe Raymond oba basuke ngiphule ngibona akabhalwa vele Mr la siyabonga kakhulu Raymond myeni siyayithatha I challenge ukuthi sibuke bantu lesiphila nabo endaweni tethu. There is more that we should do in as far as my issues LGBTQI are concerned. We need an in-depth kufundiseka kakhulu iAfrica nje isasekhashane isadonsa from ngilo kancane iyasonzela endzabeni nje vele we must understand ukuthi we must compare ne Europe we are about 300 years mhlawumbe behind entweni letitsite so nathi sithi let's accept to learn to find out what does it mean to be in such a situation singayikheli etulu kube khona mhlambe kubonakala ngathi sesigcina sisola kanti mhlawumbe umntwana nakho naye unjalo mhlawumbe sive sakho naso sinabo labantu. So I'm saying we need an in-depth analysis ngene sifundiseke sithi ndivuna simakhosi sima South Africans sima Africans the whole continent. Siyabonga kakhulu ule message of support. The next one Prince Ronnie Matlala, the Congress of Traditional Leaders, Contralesa. Ngaleba ungasebenza le yabo.
Ngicale ngokubingelela indlu yonke yamakhosi usihlalo wamakhosi ku province, then ma members of Mpumalanga legislature MECs laba khona la. Wokucala angisuye uRon Matlala, but I'm the secretary of the province ku Contralesa. Igama ngingu Bernard Mashiru, the provincial secretary. Then see Contralesa in the province, we wanted to appreciate the program men's parliament, particularly in this province. So siyajabula kakhulu ukuthi kube khona ama programs lafana nalawa that in the future will be changing the mindset of a man. I've got just a little story that I want to share with you, but then ngifuna kusho lokhu ukuthi in one country or one village there was a man. Le ndoda lena kuthiwa yayinezisebenzi zayo eziningi. Then one time he wanted to go to a certain country for a visit. Then wa assemble abasebenzi bakhe bonke ukuthi abaze wabanikeza le instructions. Washo wathi ucela ukuthi omunye nomunye asalenze umsebenzi wakhe ngendlela ethembekile nangendlela efunekalayo. Then abasebenzi bakuvuma lokho bakwenza. Then kodwa ke kwatholakala ukuthi esinye sezisebenzi zalomnumzane besingasebenzi ngendlela efanele. Bekumela ashanele indlu yomnumzana ukuthi the day umnumzana abuya athole indlu yakhe clean. Waba promise nokuthi uma abuya lento leyazokuthola uyiphethe ngezandla zakho uzokunikeza yona. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi laba bebawasha imoto yomnumzane bebayiwasha on daily basis. Laba bebawasha ama pants wakhe bebawasha on daily basis. But then it happened ukuthi umnumzana loyo wathatha inja yakhe wayibopha ngaphansi kombhede. The reason why I think ukuthi bekafuna ukubona ukuthi lo shanelako uzowenza umsebenzi wakhe ngendlela efanele na. Then bekashanela kodwa umsebenzi wakhe angawenzi kahle. It happened ukuthi the dog was so much disciplined. Ukuthi ayizange yakhala lenja yagcina yafa. Uma ifile wezwe ukuthi phakathi kwendlu ngathi akusahlalisekanga. What he said ukuthi uma ngibuya lokho engizokuthola ukuphethe ngezandla zakho ngunikeza kona. Lo bekaklina indlu uma inje seyifile wafuna ukuyithatha. Unfortunately uma aphuma nayo egate umnumzana wekhaya uyafika. Then the question was, kepha mina lawe sizwane ngani ngithe lokhu ngiyokuthola ukuphethe ngezandla zakho ngunikeza kona. Wathi ke lo shanela indlu lenje efile sengiyakho. What I'm trying to say is singamadoda mhlazana uJehova dala umuntu. A man was given a very clear instruction. You must take care and look after. That was God's instruction to a man. So ngithanda ukusho ukuthi le program le yasijabulisa thina that will change the mindset of us as men to make sure that we don't abuse our children, we don't abuse women, we look and take good care of what God has given us. So I program lenhle kakhulu sihlalo siyajabulela kodwa ke mayingapheleli lapha namhla. Let it be a continuing program that will assist us as Mpumalanga province to know our standpoint. Lafushane bengifuna nje ukugcina lapho not to waste much time. Thank you.
Siyabonga kakhulu Secretary wenhlangano yethu Congress of Traditional Leaders. Vele sisho njalo ukuthi awucha seyiqalile the program ayiyophela. itawufaka khona lapha ema-ofisini ma-traditional councils onke atawuhambe agcine akugcine kuyi-program bamba lapha kubo sitayikhuluma nje mase mhlambe siya naku way forward ukuthi kufuna sichube njani sibonga kakhulu ma messages of support sekaphelile njalo sesitawu ngena with the next part of the program lapho sicela khona umhlonishwa speaker of the provincial legislature make makhosazane masilela masathi uthi ujoyine ngakuphi kumbe ukhona lana uthi asithulele inkulumo yakhe siyabonga.
Sihlalo wendlu yamakhosi yase Mpumalanga inkosi SG Ngomane nelisekela lakhe inkosi MC Mahlangu phinze sibingelele nelofisi la mvunankulu weprovince make refile Mtheni Tsipane lo hola iprovince yase Mpumalanga sibingelele umhlonisha wethu umake Lindiwe Njali lo aphethe ku social development sibingelele bonke bondaba ezitha labakhona namhlanje kulapha kushaya umthetho salana eMpumalanga bonke ma colleagues la khona siyanibingelela lona lokhulumako akusuye make makhosazana masilela ngilana ngithunyiwe mina ngubuyile ngwakamdluli lana ke unomlomo wethu umake makhosazana masilela ubambekile ngemisebenzi lethile yesishaya umthetho so ube so ungiphathisa umlayeto ukuthi sithe sitondlulisa ku le launch lebaluleke kangaka namhlanje ku province yaseMpumalanga ilo i-traditional men's parliament le launchwa li office lendlu yabaholi benzabuko lana eMpumalanga so anginawuba mutse kakhulu kodwa lesifuna ukuchaza ke thine as iMpumalanga provincial legislature sikhuluma ngaphansi kwalesihloko lesithi sectoral parliaments and specifically interconnected and developmental approach to sectoral parliaments siphathise umlayeto lo hamba ngalendlela kumake masilela sicela ukuchaza ukuthi imandate yesishaya umthetho sethu ezeMpumalanga sithi senda into letinzathu i-lawmaking shaya umthetho wesibili sende lokuthiwa i-oversight ma-departments afanele ukuthi ngokwemthetho sekelo account lana kushaya umthetho e-legislature siphinze sende lokubitwa ngokuthi i-public involvement leyo mandate siyithola kumthetho sekelo walana eSouth Africa nangingasho nje ukuthi siyithola ku section 114 na section 118 wemthetho sisekelo so ke uyabonga kakhulu ke ngokuthi kubonwe kukuhle ukuthi sishaya umthetho saseMpumalanga sithe sizokhuluma ngale topic lebaluleke kangaka sengichazile nje ukuthi kusukela kule mandate yethu lena lekumthetho sisekelo section 118 usho kahle ukuthi sishaya umthetho kubalekile ukuthi kuwo wonke ama processes leyiwendako ngifuna kuyifunza ngesingisi ukuthi the legislature must facilitate public involvement in the legislative processes and other processes of the legislature and its committees. Shoko ukuthi ke umthetho sisekelo uyasigcizelela ukuthi kuto tonke into lesitendako simchaya umthetho fanele ukuthi siulethe i-public Takhamuti talana eMpumalanga ukuthi ti understand nangabe makomiti ahlala fanele ukuthi malunga emphakathi abe kuma komiti nangabe shaya umthetho sihleli malunga emphakathi fanele ukuthi abe khona abone ukuthi umthetho wendiwa kanjani ukuthi ma department account kanjani ku legislature so ke sibe sesiyandlula ke lapho ke sinaloku bitwa ngokuthi ma rules and orders as a legislature kuma rules and orders so kuze kokuthi as the legislature in giving effect to lo section 118 we constitution sinawo lapha kuma rules lawo kudilwa ngema sectoral parliaments ma sectoral parliaments are in line with the mandate ukuthi si facilitate I public involvement endeka ngalolu hlobo sihlalo Nkosi Ngomane lo sicela kokuchaza ukuthi ngokucala kulama rules wethu kuthiwa ilegislature kuyafanele ukuthi ngeminyaka ibe nema sectoral parliaments like 4 sibonelo nje lengasichaza ukuthi sukela umnyaka uqalile manje ngo 2021 sesikembe saba nema sectoral parliaments lafaka phakathi I-youth parliament siphinze saba nayo futhi i-sectoral parliament le i-parliament yabomake ibitwa ngokuthi i-women's parliament so lokho sikwenda ngoba ma rules athi we must facilitate public involvement kuchaza ukuthi iyendeka kanjani ke lawo masendeka kanjani lama sectoral parliaments sinayo ke ikomiti le dlala inzima le nangabe kune tidzingo tawo la ukuthi umphakathi fanele ukuthi kube nalawo nama sectoral parliaments sibita ngokuthi i-select committee on public participation petitions and members legislative proposals iyize nje ligama layo ngiyayifinca nje kuze ukuthi into okhulumisa lokhu lesibukene ngako namhlanje so lengingachaza ke lapho ke esihlalo ukuthi lawo ma sectoral parliaments lawo abaluleke ngendlela lesingeke sichaze njengemshamthetho ngoba athi ma rules and orders ase legislature kufanele ukuthi nawakhona lawo ma sectoral parliaments njengoba ngishilo ngiyawubeka sibonelo se youth parliament lesike sabanayo baphathiswa bema departments ma MECs kufanele ukuthi bawa attende lawo ma sector parliaments and then futhi nema resolutions la yoba ayothathwa nivile ngikhulumisa indzaba yekomiti yase legislature le ngithi sile committee on public participation ifaka nema petitions lawo ma resolutions lawo la yogcina adoptwa lana kule sector parliament le isuka ikhona kufanele ukuthi ma department our implement lawo ma resolutions because either lana ato adopta lawo ma committee reports and then they become ama resolutions of the house shokuthi ma resolutions eshaya umthetho sase legislature emva kwaloko ke lawo ma resolutions njengoba ngichazile ukuthi lawo ma department mo MEC batawuta basho ukuthi kule sector parliament lesindlulile angithi adoptiwe manje and then nase lo mnyaka lotako nasokwendeka ukuthi kuphindze kuba nalenye i-sector parliament ye-youth kufanele ukuthi baphathiswa bede batoniketa i-progress report kokuthi a-implementwe kanjani lawo ma-sector parliaments or lawo ma-resolutions lathethwe kuleyo sector parliament njengoba bengishilo ngibeke isibonelo se-youth parliament so kubaluleke kakhulu ukuthi sibe sesiyachaza ukuthi thina njenge legislature ke ngiphathisiwe lana ke make makhosazana ukuthi siyibonile ukuthi as part of make makhosazana masilela usomlomo wethu ngokuthi njengoba thina sishaya umthetho there have been ama discussions ngoba nathi siyayibona siyilegislature singaphansi siya part of society siyawubona lawo ma challenges lese kakhulunyiwe lana lafaka ama challenges abo gender based violence and femicide bo child abuse konke lawa affecta miphakathi yethu ibe seyiyabona ke isishaya umthetho ukuthi we need ukuthi sibe netingcoco so kunema discussions that are taking place kufanele ukuthi sishayamthetho si host lo siyokubita ngokuthi iMen's Summit, and there are also discussions ukuthi going forward njengoba sichazile ukuthi ngawo onke umnyaka kuya decide ukuthi kube nema sectoral parliaments like 4. The other discussions afaka ukuthi ku host ne Men's Parliament, because we have realized as the legislature ukuthi to deal with the thinking aleti khona emphakathini, we need all our stakeholders ukuthi babambisene. Hence sikuthokotele ngokuthi namhlanje indlu emakhosi yaseMpumalanga ithathe isinqumo ukuthi ba launch iMen's Parliament, and a specifically termed traditional Men's Parliament, because kune understanding ukuthi ikhulu inzima lengadlalwa makhosi njengeMpumalanga nje sibuka kakhulu, sihlala kakhulu emakhaya lo kuma rural areas lapho tindzawo letiningi kunabo baholi benzabuko kanako futhi nasemadolobheni noma sihlala khona kuyatiwa ukuthi imiphakathi yakithi isayihamba iyawena masiko nemihambo yebantu. So kungako simthetho siyabonga kakhulu ngalesi nqumo lesi. And esinase ngiyanga sekugcineni besicela ukuthi sichaze lokulandzela ukuthi as the legislature sihlalo uthi umake Masilela sindlulise umlayezo ukuthi we support fully this launch and the initiative, all the discussions la aqala namhlanje ukuthi sithi sinifisela lokuhle ngalawo ma discussions lawo nalama deliberations, and also nalama resolutions la yawuthathwa namhlanje ukuthi siyawusebenzisana kakhulu nendlu yemakhosi alana eMpumalanga ukuze ukuthi lawo ma resolutions la ngabe fanele ukuthi implementeke bese uya implement. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi ungabuta umbuto ukuthi siyokwenda kanjani. Bengicela uchaza ukuthi bese sikhulumile ukuthi lama resolutions of the house lathathwayo ha implementwa through ma departments. Mpumalanga Provincial House of Traditional Leaders yona ingaphansi kwesandla saka Make Shiba currently ikhokta. So ukuthi nangabe kunalawo ma resolutions la yofaka ma stakeholders or that will have an impact on into letihambisana nebuholi benzabuko. Those resolutions have to be implemented through ikhokta, and then ku the next parliament uchaza ukuthi thine as ikhokta sende loku naloku naloku. So ke sifuna kusho ke ngokuthi thoba lokukhulu ukuthi sinifisela all the best with your deliberations. We look forward ukuthi sisebenzisane nani kulama sectoral parliaments lapho ke siyoba si implementa I mandate yethu njengosishaya umthetho saseMpumalanga. Ngiyabonga ndaba ezethu.
Siyabonga kakhulu Make Mdluli. Hawu besingadi Make Mdluli ukuthi uthunyele nguyesomlomo. Sibonga kakhulu ukuthi ni deliver inkulumo yakhe. Uma kukhulume wena sothi kukhulume yena. Kodwa sifuna kusho nje somlomo through wena Make Mdluli ukuthi it is time to get back the House of Traditional and Cohesion Leaders into Parliament. While we appreciate the proposal of Men's Parliament, we are saying the legislature is very close to the houses. It's just that we have lost the link. Let's connect out directly in the Parliament. There's the committees in the House, Ayapuma, rural areas and other areas. And are almost similar, the work of Parliament very oversight. But our committees are effective enough. So tell us bring us back so that si hambisane. Siyabonga ukuthi kunetinhlelo ukuthi ufuna nisonzete singamakhosi it would be so easy utoyibona nje somlomo ukuthi vele lento beyisolo ikhona ngithi it's just a small thing le link nje lefuna isiletha back ngoba siyabona live vele liyahamba liyakuyonakala, so we have to try other things, other avenues la kulahleke khona. Let's bring it back. Siyabonga kakhulu somlomo uthi nisiniketa futhi nayo lendlu yenu ndlela esitulweni lana salabadzala ngemvumo yenu. Siyabonga kakhulu. Our next speaker, our beloved MEC Marinjali, looking beautiful ule regale yakho. You always vele uyabati buve bakho manje uhlala usikhomba nje uthi awu manage ukuthi ngiya celebrate ugcoka nje noma ngakuliphi ilanga. Siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi ube khona, sithi isikhathi sakho manje uhlonishwa ibingelele emakhosi ne-men's sector.
Sibonge losesihlalweni Nkosi Ngomane Mshika, sibulise indlu yamakhosi yonke ihlangene, sibulise somlomo wesishayamithetho seMpumalanga make Masilela uthumele imlayezo ngelovisi lakhe. Siphinde sibulise ndunankulu make Mthweni, amalunga wesishayamithetho nangabakhona asijoyinile ku virtual platform. Sibulise leadership yonke yobukhosi. Inkosi uMshika ushilo ukuthi iexecutive yala ekhaya iholwa usekela sihlalo inkosi uMahlangu. Sibulisa leadership yonke yeMpumalanga House of Traditional Leaders. Sibulise leadership ye-Contralesa ekhona nobhala Simbonile, sibonga kakhulu. Sibulisa amakhosi wakithi ngama-district womathathu, eHlanzeni, eNkangala kanye neGertsibande. Sibulise ama-representatives akhona we-LGBTIQ+ communities. Simbonile uRaymond akhuluma amele isector. Sibonga nokuthi indlu yamakhosi ibameme babe nezwi, ngoba siyazi ukuthi thina siyindlu eminyama la sibuya khona. Kukhona izinto ebezithabu uma zenzekile, kodwa manje kuyasho Mshika ukuthi lesihlalo sihleli siba dynamic, sikhona ukumuva, si accommodate wonke umuntu. Siyabonga kakhulu Mshika ngalokho. Sibulise ku chairperson women's sector Babengoza kanye ne secretariat ye 8th council. Amalunga wonke khona abuya kuinhlangano ehlukahlukene nama delegates wonke amenyiwe. Sithi sanibonani, Lochana, Dumelanga. Namhlanje Mshika sithanda ukusho ukuthi siyiziko le social development. Ngiyazi ukuthi ngisebenze nani kakhulu, ngiseseka sport nyalo sengingala ka social development. Sifuna ukusho ukuthi sibongile ukuthi nathi ukuthi maqala kuhlanyelwa lesihlahla nathi sibe siyiphathi yokuhlanyelwa lesihlahla, ngoba uma kulonjwa le traditional men's parliament kuyasho ukuthi bekunenkinga. Isintu uma ngisiquota sithi, ngicela ukusiquota, uma kunendaba amadoda ayayithatha ayise bandla indaba le ikhulunyelwe ebandla. Yingakho namhlanje sihleli la silethe la ukuthi injobo enhle ithungelwa ebandla silethe la ku parliament sizolontsha i-men's parliament and asiphume emasikweni wakithi. Sithanda ukusho ukuthi nathi si Department ye Social Development sibonga kakhulu ukuthi nisimeme. Lo mnyaka ke thina sibomama noma kwezepolitiki unyaka esiudeclare ukuthi unyaka waka mama uCharlotte Maxeke. Umama uCharlotte Maxeke ube umama wokuqala ukuthi abe ne-bachelor's degree. Owaba umama wokuqala owakhethwa a representa umama ezikhundleni eziphezulu iANC sasungulwa. Ube uqala umama wokusimela yingani ngimveza yingoba itopic engiphiwe yona ikhuluma ngokuthi si champion men championing change, men as championing changing prevention of HIV and gender-based violence ne femicide. Silana namhlanje sesikhona mshika ukuma eParliament kunge zinto ezenzeka ngaphambili omama uMaxeke abazenza. Ngiphakamisa leli phuzu elibalekile ngoba kuyimvelaphi yethu noma kuumlando wethu ukuthi sibuyaphi siyaphi. I want to raise this important point as part of the history that today we're making as men's parliament and the posture that we must take to make sure that women have an existing voice in our development, our transformation in our society. Ngoba esikhathini esiningi lokho kwenza ukuthi kube nodlame yingoba bomama abanavi ekhaya noma emphakathini yethu. Mele strive for an equal society that our sons and daughters will live in harmony and peace in our society that is non-racial, non-sexist and prosperous. Sihlalo yingakho ngithi ake ngicale ke ngicophule lokho ngoba indlela esakhuliseka ngayo isilethele inkinga eziningi. Ikhulisa abafana bethu ukuthi sithi indoda ayikhali. Uma ucala uvula lenhlanganisela uthize amadoda waseMzantsi Afrika akwatile wa violent society ene kungani kune khubhululo elenzekile ke osesihlalweni elichoko ukuthi abantu bethu bakhula ngaphandle kwaboyise. Abo baba bekho basemberegweni, abo mama basele babheke abantwana ekhaya. Abantwana bafundiswe ukuthi umntwana womfanyana uthengelwa ikoloyi yokudlala. Abantazana bathengelwa ama-T-shirt lokwenkotlela nani badlala. Kuthi ukuthini lokho? Uthaceda kuzalwa sibe simfundisa ukuthi indawo yakho isekhwitchini. Lo msana yena sibe simfundisa ukuthi wena uzokuchayela imotor uzokubereka. And uma sikhula lezinto sezenzeka labantwana bamantombazana siyababona ukuthi bayafunda ngeningi labo. Bathwala iziqu. Basebenza imisebenzi ephakeme. Bayabadlula labafanyana bethu. Ireality ukuthi uma uhamba endaweni zangakithi into esiyibonile leyo nathi siyi department ukuthi abafanyana bethu laba bahlala kule idodlwane emakhoneni level ye abuse yama drugs and substance abuse iphakeme ebantwaneni bethu babafana. Amantombazana ayasebenza, amantombazana athenga izindlu, amantombazana athenga amakari. Ngiyashada nguma mtshali ngishada nobaba untshali mhlambe ngiyamdlula ngokwesalary. Yiloko nako okudlala indima enkulu ukuthi sigcine sihlukumezene la endlini. Ngoba kunalento lesibiza ukuthi patriarchy. Yini patriarchy? Ipatriarchy kulapha sibonisa khona ukuthi abomama bebacindezelwe. kodwa lokungalingani ngokwamandla yila sibeka khona omama sibabeke ekitchen abobaba sibabeke emahofisi ene lokho bekuhlohlozelwa noma kusupportwa iculture noma indlela esakhuliswa ngayo noma imfundiso esafundiswa ngazo noma inkolo ene ukushintsha lokho mshika yiko ukuthi singakhuluma kodwa singakhuluma endaweni eright kumele siye ngqo la inkinga ikhona ngoba ukuze sicede lo dlame ukuze sicede lokuthi sithi bomama lamalungelo bawanike iBeijing noma bawanika ukhongolose ukube nawo amalungelo wabomama nabantwana amalungelo aku constitution yilento ekumele sifundisane yona ngoba abomama bebangami epulpit bashumayele abomama bebangami babe makhosi ngiyazi ukuthi namhlanje nalimahosho warona kibomme some of them because thina besingeke sikhona ukuthi sithathe ubukhosi noma ngiku line of being inkosi because I'm a girl so izinto ezinjalo ukuthi sifundisana kanjani ezezinye zezinto uma ukhuluma lapha ku topic eningikezweni ukuthi sivikela kanjani labo mama ukuze kuphele lo dlame ekhaya ukuze kuphele le HIV abomama ekhaya kanalungelo lokuthi kubaba yebo ngiyayicela ingubo or cha ngiyabonga ubaba uma efuna leyo nkonzo uyayifuna kumele itholakale and umama kana say uma umama angakhoni noma angakabi ready ukuthi anganikezela ngeingane la ekhaya akanalungelo kuba ngathi wenza umhlolo omkhulu yilezi zinto lezi sithi kumele sifundisane zona ukuze wonke umuntu amalungelo wakhe angacindezelwa kakhulu bathi-ke kuko konke lokhu sesikukhulumile abomama bathethwe esikhathini esiningi njengama-objects izinto nje ekhaya into yokuklina into yokuwasha akana role enkulu kodwa sithi thina sisonke singakushintsha lokho ngizwe umoya wami uba mhlophe ubukhosi mabumela ngaphambili ukuthi ukugeza izitsha is not a taboo uma ubaba ukuncedisa la endlini akusithabu ukuthi naba umama seza semsebenzini wena ungabeka ibhodo it's what we must teach our kids it's what we must embrace siyazi ukuthi thina abanye sesikhule kakhulu mhlawumbe sekuzoba nzima kodwa siyacabanga ukuthi sonke sikhuliswe bomama nabogogo wonke umuntu bekane task ayenzayo kuma house chores bekashanela ibala kaphiza inkuni sikhamanzi senza yonke lama task kodwa manje sesiyathanda ukuthi sigexose kakhulu isandla kuzobaleka ke ukuthi kuko konke lokho senze ukuthi siyabambisana ukuze sigweme lolu dlamo olukhona phakathi kwabebulili mantombazana nabafana. One of the causes zama domestic violence ezikhona engithe uma ngibukisisa ngayithola osesihlalweni ukuthi uma abobaba bangakhona ukuthola indlela yabo bese sesisebenzisa amandla lento esibiza ukuthi masculinity siyacela ke ukuthi sikhuzanene sibobaba ngiyacabanga ukuthi iParliament leli lethu lihleleke kahle ukuthi lizokhuluma namadoda wonke across ene sibonga ukuthi kukhona all the stakeholders la ngoba kukhona izinto ezibanga lolu dlame yini okunye okubanga lolu dlame ukuthi na yilezi zinto esengibalile zocansi nokuthatha ngenkani and okunye esingakwenza ukuze sicede lelo dlame ukuthi sonke siphilisane ngokuhloniphana ukuthi noma ngingabe ngihola kangakanani kodwa ngimhloniphe ubaba untshali noma ubaba angaholi kakhulu la endlini simhloniphe simnike indawo yakhe ngoba la sikhona sibhekene nesimo esinzima iCovid-19 sihlalo obaba balahlekelwe imisebenzi obaba baye bafacana nesimo esinzima la bahleli khona ekhaya angazi ukuthi isinkwa uyosithenga ngani kumenze wayibona ngathi yena akasinto yalutho lamalanga ngoba nabafika bacela isinkwa baye esikolweni akanaso so ilezo zinto lezo sithi zibe yinkinga kakhulu njengoba besi ku COVID-19 sibonile kuphakama kakhulu izinga lokuthi abomama bashaywe noma babulawe yile igovernment yethu ebeyibusy inema strategic sessions inama plans we economic recovery ukuthi singena njani ukuze sibuyise lo mnotho ukuze abantu basebenze ngoba kuyiqiniso ukuthi abantu bakithi basenkingeni ngendaba yomsebenzi kukhosa itension endlini kukhosa udlame kakhulu sithanda ukusho ke ukuthi imilayezo yethu esilethayo la ukuthi asidilene ngale inkinga lezi uma singakhona ukulwa nendlala silwe nokungalingani silwe nokungasebenzi ngiyacabanga ukuthi udlame emphakathini yethu nasemakhaya bungaphela kodwa kubaluleke kakhulu ukuthi sidile ngeviolence ngoba akakho umuntu onelungelo lokushaya omunye umuntu whether you abuse sexual abuse or physical abuse or humiliate umuntu njengoba abanye abantu bakushaya ngamagama uzizwe ngathi ungcuno so izinto lezo ekumele sithi sikhuzane ngazo nokuthi sikhuluma kanjani ngoba sibone ukuthi sisizwe simnyama thina asikhoni nokuthi sihloniphane noma sikhulumisane ngendlela edecently Deputy Chair uthi la sihlala ngakhona kungcolile la sihlala ngakhona kunezinto ezingenzeki sifuna ukucreate a dependency in the state when we can do things thina sisonke kumele sibuyise le culture yokuthi sisonke singayenza ubungcono emiphakathini yakithi inhliziyo yami emshika ibabhlungu uthi uyashayela umuntu alahla iphepha imoto ihamba alahle ithini le cold drink why ungalilindi ulifake eplastikini ulifake edustbin ekhaya that is what we teach our kids it's very painful to say if thina bendlu ensundu besinomcimbi bese kuba nalenye ebala iba nomcimbi ubuke ukuthi kuzosala kunjani emva kwalokho yilento esithi asifundisane zona ukuze siyekele ukuthi lolu dlame lupepethekiswa into ezincane sikwatela into encane kuchithwe udodi phambi kwakami sesiyalo yiko sithi the social ills in our communities are a serious concern as a department but all of us we need to deal with those social ills si department ke sifuna ukusho ukuthi kunama issues esizodila ngawo esiwapick up hayo la ebukhosini ioffice lika Somlomo beliqinisile uma lithi ama resolution athathwa la implementwa yithi ama department ingako si social development siuhlonipha umhlangano esibizwa kiwo sibizwa amakhosi ingoba siyazi ukuthi abakhosi aphethe isizwe uma phethe isizwe thina siuhulumeni singena through amakhosi ukuze sifinyelele emphakathini uhulumeni wethu sekasebenzile kunemithetho ayibekile la bekunama cultural clash versus ama constitutional rights esithanda ukusho ukuthi siyabonga nesupport enisinike yona neyindlu yamakhosi la besi repeala khona eminye imithetho lapho sithanda ukuhlalisa khona kahle izinto ngomhla ka29 no30 waka September idepartment sizobe sibungaza leli hlelo lemishado marriages week lapha sifundisa khona la si create khona iplatform yokuthi imindeni ama families sikhona njani ukuhlala together because le COVID isibonisile ukuthi sometimes we can't coexist for a while iviki was enough abantu bavaleleke endlini So those are the things that we'll be doing. And we urge both young and old to utilize these spaces and engage, because if we deal with these marriages, if we deal with these social issues from the family unit, then unesizwe esiphilile. Ngoba umuntu before aba umuntu emphakathini umuntu obuye ekhaya, so kumele silungise from ekhaya. Yingakho sithi imphakathi yakithi ayilithathe kakhulu leli thuba ilisebenzise, sisebenzisane ukuze sakhe isizwe esiphilile, ngoba ukulwa nodlame, ukulwa nalokutheleleka kwe-HIV and AIDS, it starts within a family. In a family, if we support each other, I can freely go and take my medication if I'm infected by the virus. I can be supported within the household. Ungathola omunye sekagula kakhulu ngathi uhulumeni akanikezeli ngeinsiza kube siyanikezela. So yingakho sithi lolu dlame lokukwatelana lokufihlelana esikugodlile kungalimitha udlame nokubulalana emakhaya ukuze sibe amakhaya amahle. Sengigcina ngithanda ukuquota utata uMadiba la athi, I quote, "Part of building a new nation means building a spirit of tolerance, love, respect amongst the people of this country." If singaba naloko siyisizwe sinsundu, isizwe saseMpumalanga, Mshika, ngiyathemba ukuthi singaba isizwe esiphucuzekile esiphumelelayo. Ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga kakhulu Mhlonisha. Make intshali. Indeed, I can testify on the wonders of the wonders that are bestowed in women. The support lesitholako kubumake, you know, sikubona emmeneni ukuthi nje umemo mawumnanzi ubona nje bomake bavunulile lapha kubovu orange kunjani bayacula. Aw, just imagine ngaphandle kwabo bengahamba lifike kuphi lesiko lethu le-culture. You know, ukutomangata labaningi Mhlonishwa ngoba vele kusaseyithabu. That's why ngithi hey tindotethu mhlambe ufuna sisheshe forward eAfrica. You know, one of my hobbies sengifakazela lokukhulumile nalokukhulunywa ngibaba Nkosi indaba tasendlini tokwenda tinto endlini ekitchen. One of my hobbies Mhlonishwa ngithi mangihleli ngijabulile nje ngidlale around with Indian cuisines, ngibuke all the spices that we India ngihlanganise nalokwala eAfrica. Kuphume into lemnanzi ngabe ukudla kwami emisi akuhlali evodweni vele bakucetha ngendlela umnanzi ngayo, and ngikwenda nje nice and freely. You know, ngithi vele nje ngoba vele hawu lisiphongo la sambe khona vele likhishi libheke etulo. That's when the power of the intervention of a woman comes in and say, asilungiseni klineke siyabambisana kuhle. There's no prejudice, akuna kudinzeteleka kusaseyithabu even nakubo bomake ukuthi hawu manje batothini utokufika umuntu lana kuthole usekitchen kusho make usendlini. Sesho kona ukuthi siyakwenda nje freely sibamsenda noma yini thina labanye kumnanzi ekhaya ngalendlela leyo. Sibonga kakhulu Mhlonishwa, sitawuqhubeka njalo sishumayele lelo vangeli ukuthi asibafakeni nabo make basilekelele etintweni letitsite lapha event ethu. Siyathi ukuthi ba punctual, ba reliable futhi sibonga kakhulu. Our next angathi ukuthi ime njani la le program babengoza. Bekufuna ngabe kunemhlonisha makeshiba I introduce the keynote speaker sethu. Angifunda ukuyifaka ukukhuluma la uthola simhlamba akemi kahle kanti vele sesiconnected na ku virtual ngasibambisa ngemahloni cela sihlole kuqala ukuthi kume njani. Okay, while basilungisela lokho sekusikhathi makhosami ukuthi nivele tinkulumo nivile tikhulumi tethu la tikhuluma. Before I do that, maybe ngiqale nginikete the deputy chairperson wethu la endlini.
No, angithokoze sihlalo. Bese ngiveza isandla ngizibawela ukuthi mhlambe ngibe ngokuthoma ehlelweni leli le dialogue. Ngibe ngokuthoma ngoba ngithanda ukuthi ngihloniphe ubukhosi ngandlala inkulumo ngandlalela ubukhosi obuzokhuluma. Inkulumo yenkosi iyandlalelwa. Now ngoba ngokwesiko abantwana bemtshade ngicabanga ukuthi mhlamba abakazilungiselela ukuthi bazokwandlalela inkulumo ngizakwenza lokho. Sihlalo ngiba ukuveza amaphuzu ambadlwana ngokukhulumisa lokhu esele kuvele kilaba bebasikhulumisa. Sihlalo ukuhlonishwa kwabomma kuyakhulumiseka ngendlela eziningi. Njengoba uwemisi unjalo uthile ukuthi abomma bayahlonipheka unyaka lokuhlonishwa umma uCharlotte Maxeke. Somkhandlu ngokwesikhathi ngitnangizoleleko ngikunendima engibona ichoda ingavezwa ngazi namkha ayivezwa ngoba ayaziwa namkha isazokuvela ngoba unyaka awukapheli. Kodwana che u South African National Defence Force kunehlonipho ekulu ebayinikeze abomma kodwana zakhe ikhulumiseke njengoba ngisho. Maybe it's because abantu abanye are not even aware within the country ukuthi i-Defence Force ingengaba. So ngithanda ukuthi ngikhulumele i-South African Navy ukuvikeleka ngokwasemanzini. Kunemkhumbi emithathu ethiyelelwe ngabomma, not imkhumbi nje ama-submarine. Nawo wabizako uthi SAS ijamele i-South African ships. Kunomkhumbi okuthiwa i-SAS Charlotte Maxeke. Kunomkhumbi okuthiwa i-SAS Queen Mojaji. Kunomkhumbi okuthiwa i-SAS Mantatis. Maqhawe wonke lawo ngibomma abakhe baphila baba semzabalazweni begodu babaholi njengalaba bakwamjaji nabo Mantatis. So bengithi ngikuveze lokho ukuthi akhe kuvela ukuthi ngembala ukuhlonipheka kwabomma lokho kukhona senje ezingaba ngathi azivezwa. Ekwesibili sihlalo umfana Nkosi ukhulumile la unganga lamdlula kodwana ke mhlambe naka bekazitsho la uzithule ngokwesigaba lesi bamthume ngaso akhange asho ukuthi umfana Nkosi uyi princess udabuka lapha ebukhosini bakwamdluli emagogo. Ngikhumbula ukuthi uyadicapha ukuthi usuke ebukhosini umntana ebukhosini. So kumnandi ebukhosini sinawo nama lawyer yabona ama advocate baze bangena nasesibetha umthethweni. The issue on cleanliness usomkhandlu ukhuluma kabuhlungwana ukuthi abantu bavula amafestera baphosa amaphepha ngaphandle. nami ngingomunye isihlalo walabo abaphatheka kumbi na kwenzeka njalo uthi na ukhulumisa abantu babone ngathi uzenza ngcono no ungase sokuthi ngizenza ngcono kodwa na ke njengomuzo onzima ngezinye zezinto esizenzako ezingakarisiko. But what I would like to share nendlu ukuthi I've been fortunate ukuthi ngiye eRwanda. Rwanda suffered from a very bad genocide. Abantu babulalana ngobuhlanga. Net babangisana nje impumulo ukuthi impumulo zabasifani. Omunye kuthiwa liHutu, impumulo iqale phezulu, omunye kuthiwa liTutsi, impumulo ithe. Abantu bagcina babulana abantwana babo ngenxa yempumulo lezo. But what came out of the genocide yase Rwanda ukuthi bathina babuyelana ko bazwana bathi let us start by cleaning up. eRwanda na ungayana namhlanje ngeze bokuthole nephepha nelincane nalinye nelesweet pass ngoba bazwana. That was an agreement na namhlanje ikhona. eRwanda is the cleanest country in Africa. You will not understand until ufika ube nechudo lokuthi ufike eRwanda uyibone into njengale. So njengomuzo onzima ezinye izinto singavumelana ngazo singenzeka. Through you chair ngithanda ukukhulumisa umntwana Nkosi. Obekajamele sibethamthetho. Ukhulume nge-law making, ukhuluma nge-oversight, ukhuluma nge-public participation. Indlu yobuholi bendabuko ngokwakheka kwayo ngokusemthethweni. Nathi we are about law making njengendlu. Nathi we are about the public participation and oversight. So uDr Khanaka uthi in terms of the law sikhethe ukuthi sithi siba ne-men's parliament, more so a traditional men's parliament, because the statute or the establishment of the houses, local house, provincial house and national house of traditional and Khoisan leaders is based on those three things. Ukuthi whatever chairperson ifoni lilako leyo ngiba ubahlawulisa, whatever will be said and done within the traditional men's parliament, there will be public participation. Kunomthetho ngaphakathi and kune oversight ngoba emva konyaka njengoba bekhuluma uRaymond ukuthi in the next parliament sitting, traditional men's parliament, there must be accountability. Konke lokho kukhambelana nalokho bekukhulunywa isibethamthetho sethu seMpumalanga. So bengithi ngazise indlu ngokuhlonipheka ukuthi there is that alignment ukuthi izindlu zobuholi bendabuko zihlonywe ngokusemthethweni. Noma namhlanje sesingakaplaceki kuhle ngoba well it's politics, but nakuthiwa singaphasi ku-MEC kona kuhle is not correct. We are supposed to be there alone so that we can even oversight over the MEC of Kokta herself. But nyalo kumatimanyana noku-oversight ngoba uyasibhatala mos. But that's politics. So bengithi ngiveze because sengiyiswa ngabukhosi bami ngokwandlelela ubukhosi obuzokhuluma sikhulume ngokuba neanger kwethu, ngokuba nolaka. So indlu yobuholi bendabuko ikhe yabandamelana ne-SAPS. Sithi sibawa basherele ukuthi izinto esizenzako lezi ezibhlungu esizenza kiboma nabantwana bethu zibhlungu kangangani. So chair, I'd just like to share ukuthi kuma crime statistics within the province, ngiphethe presentation ekhuluma ngeprovince ngoba nasi khuluma ngeglobal kuthiwa hayi kasitswana barba karetsa uya generalizing. Now ukhuluma nge-South Africa as a country kuthiwa hayi kodwa still ayikahlabe ekhaya. So ngiyabawa chairperson ukuthi ngihlabe ekhaya ngikhulume ngama-statistics wala ekhaya eMpumalanga ukuthi imurder ngo-2021 from April to June, April, May, June, just in 3 months, imurder is 321. 321 in 3 months. Abantu ababulala eMpumalanga. A high percentage of that ngibo baba ababulala bomma. Siyabahlukumeza nayibona? Ayikarisi che. So bengithi ihlabe ekhaya ke siveze ukuthi ibhlungu kangangani. The top 30 crime ridden areas within Mpumalanga, number 1 Wheatbank. kukuvela neNelspruit number 2 Middleburg number 3 Forsman number 4 kwaMhlanga Emelo Kabokweni ama crime statistics wakhona mahambi ngaphasi kwemeda but ngithanda ukuyakile sengiswaphelisa ethusa khulu sihlalo le ekhuluma nge-rape ne-GBV specifically ukuthi ngaphasi kwe-rape the number i-count ye-rape kuthiwa 212 yama case we-rape within Mpumalanga province 212 umuntu oyobika umlando ukuthi bangidlwengule the person who is reporting nababuza ukuthi ngubani umuntu omrepile uyamazi ukuthi ngubani it's either ngumalume ngumzala ngumakhelwane or ipartner so indezi zenziwa babantu abaziwako ibhlungu le the top 30 police stations la ku report ama rape number 1 iPinar and iPinar kunobukhosi lapha sicabanga ukuthi kula ubukhosi fanele bungenelele khona busikime ubukhosi bakwaMsogwaba nobukhosi bakwaDanji iKabokweni iMasoyi nakhona kunobukhosi isiyabuswa ku number 23 kunabo Falbank kunabo Hazy View ubukhosi bukhona kune Bushbuck Ridge number 11 ubukhosi bukhona for the sake of time besengithi ngiveze nje but it's very disturbing ukuthi within this very short space of time April May June ama case we rape it's over 400 in 3 months it's that anger lesinayo fanele sikhulumise sikhuphe channel this anger to if I aswazi ukuyikhupha let's channel it to something else njengamadoda mhlambe sibe ma professional boxer bese ngifanisa nje bengithi ngiveza ubuhlungu lobu let's drive the message home ukuthi lama statistics abuhlungu sihlalo ukuthi sithi singabo baba singamakhosi we are leaders in our various spaces but ngathi kuthulekile ukuthi akuna okuthize okubonakala kokuvela kithi ukuthi sigwema kanjani iengale ukuthi sathi ukutheliswa ngubani namkhayini mhlamba sikatholi kodwa na ke izwisa ubuhlungu so ihloso bekungasikhomba umuntu othize bese ukuthi asikhulumeni njengamadoda let's talk di sikhabutlwa yini ngakolikwekwezi sikhabutlwa yini size senze into ezimbi kangaka ngenyanga ezintathu it means in 1 month there's more than 150 cases of rape ngoba kwenze njani abomma bayabulawa sibafaka izembe sibafaka ngemasuitcase ngoba kwenze njani muzonzima kwenze njani bayithi
Asibonge Deputy Chair besina about 20 minutes for a debate makosam isikhathi sakhona lesi njengoba sekasidlalele Deputy Chairperson we can take some more hands ngathi nje kancane nje makosami sishiyele lama emakhosi kodwa sto I'm not sure ukuthi senda njani kulethi indvuna la ngoba phela lobuhlakaniphi abusi necessarily lakithi emakhosini bula etindvuneni nje ubona kungena lithango la kwangena nemabutho awu vele sekungene etimbunga nyalo kodwa sithi asinikede amakhosi sibona ukuthi ama questions uma sivuma isikhathi if induna letsite mhlambe na ifuna ku debate kanzi vele I debate ifaka nje wonke umuntu no la ikhathi and I debate mhlambe ifuna ukuthi lo ibe specific sometimes ukuthi iya ngakubani uma kunembuto so that khona kuphendula naye kodwa naye lo tokhuluma la ku premier ngicabanga ukuthi bese uyahlanganisa konke uyaphendula sikhona sandla because bambhekisa abasonzele nje labo ngathi balembuto badute nje ba
angibonge gcina isihlalo ukuniketa lelithuba lokuthi nami ke ngikhulume so angithathe lelithuba ngibingelele bonke labakhona ngekuhlukahlukana kwema position all protocol observed lo sesihlaleni nami nje ngithi asengicomment ema speakers sebakhulumile so far ngiyacabanga ke ilanga lethu lokuqala njoba ke kuhostwa lapha kisi emakhosini nami ke ngisukumiswa injabulo losesihlalweni kokuthi ke leli lilanga noma ke lingakalinzeleki ngakithi so far ngiyabonga kakhulu ngu deputy president ukuthi ke asikhumbule nathi ke singemakhosi ngiphinze ngibonge futhi ke edukweli committee liqhamuka ku national njengoba ke likhumbulile ukuthi ke kuwo wonke lama province leka khona akhona emakhosi ngiyacabanga ukuthi ke sitayithatha ke lenzima siqhubeke naye kakhulu so far bakhulumile besilalele ngiyacabanga ke lapha labhekiswa kubekile sesiwami wabeka futhi ke naye ke deputy chairperson so far ngifuna kusho ukuthi ke uhulumende njoba ke asikhumbulile elangeni lanamuhla ngivakalisa mina kubonga kakhulu kukhulunyiwe ngenzaba ye-outreach program lapho nathi ke silidlala lichaza kakhulu so far ngibonga nje kakhulu ngingacisi ukuthi ke sendeni nathi ukuthi ke sibonakala ngale kulomphakathi wethu ukuthi ke emakhosi akhona ayayidlala nayo inzima lebalekile so ke njengoba likomiti likwendile lokhu malingapheleli la ngivile lapha ke speaker lapha Mr Hlongwane athinza futhi nenzaba ke yale covid so far nansi singemakhosi esibalekile kakhulu ukuthi ke kumele ukuthi sibambisane sisonke singemakhosi ngoba uthi ke nakuye kwendiwe yona ke le outreach program bena le presentation lapha ku slot egwalagwaleni uva emalunga emphakathi ase emakhosi endana lokho kithi ke nasiva kungahlaliseki kahle kakhulu kanzi ke so far njoba ke sesicalile ngokubambisana sonke cabanga noma ngekubona kwami singema leaders akushiwo ukuthi ke emakhosi kuphela le angema leaders sonke singema leaders lesibuke impilo tethu ngokuthi ihlenga ebubeni sithi lese ebuhleni so ngisinami ke chair njoba sekubekiwe ngiyacabanga ke akusiko kokuqala nakugcina sisatha ukuchubekela phambili isikhathi njoba soshilo usike ngi30 minutes ngithi ke angivakalise ukuthi ubongela kakhulu emalangeni leketako awusitaqhubeka kube khona idebate le strong down ngiyabonga
Matala Nkosi lo suka manje Inkosi Mdluli yalapha Khosimba Makoko nje lo thunyelwe ngisomlomo advocate mayalamana nenkosi indeed this is safe sidiva si proud kakhulu kuba nebantu abenkosi labanjengaye siyabonga kakhulu indaba ezitha ungangena ngicela usho mhlambe ukuthi ngibani siyabo
Bayede indaba ezitha. Ojamela ku Chief Pete Mahlangu embalenhle sekunda. Ngithokoza isikhathi, ngithokoza abandaba ezitha nengwenyama yethu. Zonke izingonyama ezikhona ephasini. Ngiza kuhlala phezulu kwendaba nokuthokoza nethuba esilitholile simakhosi ngento okukade sifuna ukuthi mayenzeke ende singana ndlela yokuthi singayifinyelela bunjani ngokuthi thina emadrobheni sibale njengalesihlala khona esekunda kukhona zonke izizwe siminyene ndawonye siba nama challenges anzinyana ngoba njengoba undaba izitho suka la athi ukuthi bayasho ukuthi amakhosi akhona enzani bese nathi siba nesililo esithi sifuna ukuthatha indima asikhona ukufinyelela kuwo konke ngoba emadrobheni akufani nasemakhaya sifisa ukwenza konke kusemandleni ethu njengamakhosi emadrobheni sifane sihelebhe la sifane sihelebhe khona naye umbuso usicalelele njengamakhosi emadrobheni ukuthi size umphakathi ngokufanele enesenze ngokufanele sikwenze njengamakhosi ngoba lento eyenzakalako isuka vele ngikhaya lento siyibona namhlanje yokungahloniphani isuka ngikhaya uma simakhosi sinezinkundla singayiqeda lento nethi sibawa ihelebho ukuthi laba abasembusweni ke sibambisane namaphoyisa simakhosi wasemadrobheni basihelebhe ukuthi umuntu makanziwe mhlambe kuthiwa ufuneke enkosini azokuthatha umlando wakhe angezi ngoba athi mina ngiyazi inkosi yasedrobheni ngazi inkosi yasemakhaya makube khona umbuso osihelebha ngako ukuthi nathi sihlonipheke sithi umuntu uma simfakela idarfari summons eze ngokuhlonipha ngiyathokoza
Siyabonga kakhulu mbala Nkosi. Because inkosi Vida Mahlangu lilunga le executive. Ngiyabona mbala Nkosi wasembuleni naye lilunga le executive utawulandzela.
Ngiyathokoza sihlalo. Mdletshe. Kani lo wahluma emini ungangishaya mangiphosisile sihlalo ngiyakulochisa ngitsho njalo ngilochise usekela sihlalo inkosi CM Mahlangu ngithi Sirudla Samaja ngilochise indloke ngithi all protocol observed sihlalo sithokozela ihlelo esingalo namhlanje lokusikimisa iParliament yesikhethu kuyinto ehle eyenzekako ngoba kubhlungu lokho esikubona kusenzeka ngaphandle la kubulawa khona abomama nabantwana bebadlwengulwa sihlalo kuyinto esivusako sibuholi bendabuko ekutheni sifune ukuthi lento njengabaholi bendabuko ilahleke kuphi kuncane nje ngifuna ukuveza sihlalo bese ngihlala phansi ekutheni amakhehla amadala emakhaya bewanendawo yabo abomama banendawo yabo nawufika ungibaba ufike lebandla awuyingikhaya nawo nenkinga khona uyikhuluma nobaba ibandla niqede namhlanje sihlalo amabandla wethu sokwaba ama TV sihlalela iTV kusemini kusebusuku nini sihlalela iTV kodwa noma singabuyekeza ezinye zezinto esasiphila ngazo ngaphambilini ziyakusilethela indlela esingazama ukugwema ngayo yonke lento esihlasele sihlalo kuyafuneka ukuthi sibuyele emva sibone ukuthi mahlelo maphi esingawenza ukuze lendo igwemeka ngoba sibabelethi sihluleka ukufundisa abantwana bethu indlela okungiyo yokuphila bazokwazi ukufundisa babo abantwana nakho la mina ngibone lahleka khona sihlalo kuqhakathekile sihlalo ekutheni thina njengababelethi sizihlole kuqala ukuthi ngabe sikhamba endleleni okungiyona ngoba umntwana ubonela kithi kule yapilo esemva isakhamba sibona kancane kwakuthi ngadliwa ntambama umndeni wokuhlangene kula kwakuhlala khona boma bobaba busesi bobhuti kuba nezinganekwane sixoxwayo kuba nezingoma ezifundiswanako ukuthi kugidwa njani ngesinto kwenzekani akusekho namhlanje kuyiphi sihlalo angabe isiqeda mlozi ngithokoze ithuba ngithokoze nehlelo ebeza nalo lokuthi sizame ukulungisela abantu bethu ukuthi kusasa babe nempilo engcono kunale bayiphila namhlanje ngiyathokoza sihlalo
Bonga mdungu nzango
Angubingelele sihlalo wendle baholi bensabo nephini lakho nesigungu sakho lesikhulu sale provinceni ngibingelele nebuholi bethu bo MEC labakhona lana nababe bheki ingoza lokhona nalohambisana nabo bantu abengosi tindvuna letikhona nanonke ngokuhlukana kwetikhundla teni bekunene ngisangibingelele nene bakangwane sihlalo lana sihlangane ndzaba lematima kakhulu nangibukile mine sihlalo leli cell chorus vele babe bheki uyakhumbula wefika empuleni sengisho ukuthi sihlalo indzaba lematima kakhulu i-challenge le sibhekene nayo singebaholi bensabuko ekutheni sibaholi kepha sihlalo asiqale sitilungise sine ngoba umonakalo lakisi kakhulu njengamakhosi siyabahlukubeta bomake asiqale sishayenele lendlu yethu ngoba nangishaya make ngibukhosi ngipromota usindvuna ihambe iyoshaya makwakayo nasingalungisa lapho sihlalo kutawamba kahle kakhulu nalo sengididubule enyaweni nje ngepha lokho ngesihlalo angikusho kusasiqale nisine makhosi sitilungise sine sitawukhona ke uhamba nalolu hambo kube kahle nasendleleni ungayihamba eSouth Africa yonkana kunamakhosi ahlukubeta bomake ayikho iprovince lapho ngeke uthole kumbe inkosi noma mabili amakhosi la hlukubeta bomake uthumela siphi sifundo la isiveno inkosi uphesela abantu ngoba phela ibasibonelo wena njengebukhosi cha nginiphese nje bomake akafanele bahlukubeteke nebantwana usho nesive losiphethe sengisho sikhosi bami ngendlulisa nje lokho kuphela usicha asiqale sine sihlungise sine singemakhosi kude sive sitolandzela ngeliqiniso lelingilona lona siyabonga kakhulu babe ngoze impela njengoba nemengameli welive akhulumile sivile ngalelo langa siku virtual nawe siyawusekela kakhulu lo mbono ukuthi cha kuyawubanjiswana bekunene sindle baholwe nzabuko nale kuma districts siyabambisana nani kakhulu kude silwe nale demon ngoba lona umoya lomubi kakhulu nini bekunene ngiyabonga sihlalo
siyabonga mdlali lomuhle ngicabanga ukuthi nasa siyandla lapha sandla si ngena babe uthi introduce
ngiyathokoza ithuba enginikela lona ithome ngokulochisa ngingazi ukuthi ngithi ngekhaya ufuna ngithini mara ke ngilochisa ingwenyama ezikhona abondaba ezitha amaduna amakhosikazi amakhosazana ngezindlu zonke ezikhona zobuholi bendabuko nesitshaba sonke ojame phambi kwenu lo mntwana enkosi undaba ezitha umalemane Mahlangu lapha ngesigodini sefabantu eMihlibheke kwaMalemane indaba le ecaleni nathi sibobaba esikhulukhulu kule indlu yobukhosi yobuholi bendabuko ibudisi ingwadla ngoba nje ubukhosi nawuyilandelela awukhethwa uvotelwa awuye esikolweni ukuyokufundela kani uyaqala lana sihleli naboma uNamthweni lapha bakhambile bayesikoleni noma bangakayi mhlambe ngenxa yepolitiki ukuthi ke bafike njani lapho bakhona mara ukuthi lapho nase basekule nkhundla bakizo khona kuyafundiswana uthi wena Namthweni na uzoyibamba lento ukuthi ikhambe kuhle izokukhamba ngalendlela nasicala sibuyele emva kancane kuba ngikhulu njengoba undaba ezitha beseka ubaba beseka ifanisile indaba le ukuthi kwakuba nesikhathi lapho umndeni wawuhlala khona phasi emva kwezindlu izidle ezithize kufundiswane ngesikhethu mara alo nawuthi uyayicala nje batsho ngesikhuwa ukuthi the paradigm is shifted seyifuna ukuthi kwangathi ubuholi bendabuko kungaba nesikolo thizeni kufundiswe ngekambiso ebatsho nabayibeka ngesikhuwa bathi irrelevant to isikhathi lesi esikiso nje mara nawuyicalako bese nake iyangenelela kunengikhibe kunentshijilo esihlangabezana nazo undaba ezitha akhe aziveza esifaka ipolitiki ihlangana baholi bendabuko abakhona ekhaya njengoba ubaba beseka ayifanisile ukuthi okhunye sosaba ukukhuza ngokuthi ukuhlaliswa kwengabezi sekuhlangahlangene kuhlangahlanganisa isizwe kuze kufike ukuthi isizwe sesizokubuzwa ukuthi amakhosi enzani makhosi mangaki akhona eSouth Africa nje amakhosi lawo kunekhokta ekuthiwa iyababhadela bangakhi labo babhadelelwayo ababhadelwako yipi criteria eberegiswayo ukuthi babhadelwe lezo mali lezo nazokubuyiswa lapha ku local level bengeke bahelebheke abondaba ezitha isitshaba sona ekugcineni bengeke sihelebheke na into engizama ukuyikhuluma la ngizama ukuyitsho ukuthi akhe sibuyise indaba enkulu nasi ngeyemali akhe sichidise imali le
kesibeke inqubekela o development yemphakathi yethu phambili esikhulukhulu the psychological development. Ngiyathokoza ndabezitha.
Siyabonga kakhulu makhosami. Cishe kukhulumekile yabona beza uyishilo inkosi imdlulu ukuthi kusataba more ma debates ngoba vele sithi even ma thesis we'll have to come up with the programs now. Satokhuluma kakhulu extensively nayo immense parliament isatokhula igcide ijwayeleke kahle ondaba ezitha siyabonga. Ngicabanga ukuthi mhlambe lo tokhuluma utawubese naye umakavile utawufaka aphendule la but lokuningi lokuvile nje ma comments kakhulu uthi awucha siyavuma uthi akulungiseke kahle izinto tizaba te funding letimali vele tafuna vele say setibuke ngoba vele lapha ema thesis makuhlangana njalo kunalama financial implications nawo konke kuze kufike la eParliament. Babungoza ngayibita injengoba program lana bekufuna besina mhlonishwa Makebusi Shiba kube nguye lo lofuna introduce mfunankulu ngende ba connected visual we're not sure nalokuthi ngubani lo thunyelwe mhlambe who's acting on behalf of the Premier of the province. If I can get an indication ukuthi ku confirm kanjani.
Ngosi ngicabanga ukuthi bakhona ku visual ngoba uma bekukhona ukuthi kahle angeke abe khona ngabe mhlambe kwendeke ngaba ku legislature whereby ucelwe imali ngecanga bakhona ku visual uma mhlambe bangakhona ingena visual mhlambe tinza abantu abo network but ke ndo shiya kuwe lo sesihlalweni kuthi wena wena njani Nkosi.
All right angibite injengoba mhlonishwa wekhokta Make Shiba nikhona ukhona lo kumele Premier weMpumalanga cishe ngathi kude asiboni indication. Maybe we should continue. Ngiyabona ukuthi bavumelana nami indlu yavumelana nami. Bonda bezitha sibonga kakhulu makhosami this men's parliament program is a revamp, a renewal of our traditional institution. It includes all the challenges that we are facing in our rural areas. Bakosam. Siyavuma, we agree ukuthi a filthy environment indzawo lengcolile iya contribute kakhulu towards lama atrocities leswabona a confronta bomake nebantwana. Siyavuma ukuthi a filthy environment tells us ukuthi we do not love ourselves. Uma singathi tsadzitsine sibathandza njani labanye. A filthy environment tells us that we do not have leaders. We do not have elders labatokhuta. Wonke umuntu uyatibusa it tells us that we are living in a jungle where survival of the fittest is the order of the day. And this, funa keep sikushabalalise siqaleni phasi sithi tsanze those labathi uma batholakala basembini yabahlupha lembi yabanyanyisa bavamile ukuthi bese bathi hey asifuna ukubuyela emuva asilungiseni balungisa environment yabo basalungisa environment yabo kube khona ukuthi thanza kwehle konke lokunyanya livelelu kube nepatriotism eveni ngalokuthi nibambisane lilungise environment so mhlawumbe akusami anginikete babe Peter Mathebula manje ukuthi asibukele iway forward usifuna kwendeka inilala ne vote of thanks babe Peter Mathebula.
Ngicela ngikubingelela kuwesihlalo chairperson olisuku mhlonishwa Mshika Nkosi SG Ngomane ngibuye ngibingelele deputy chairperson wakho sihlalo umhlonishwa Mahlangu ngibuye ngibingelele chairperson wa women sector ngidlule emhlonishwa ngibingelele emakhosi la khona la ekhaya ngibingelele tindvuna tonke ngekuhlukahlukana kwato ngetigodzi ngibingelele office la ndvuna nkulu ngibingelele lo hlonipheke kakhulu umhlonishwa honorable premier Margaret Mthweni in her absentia ngibuye ngibingelele iMPEC ngidlule esihlalo ngibingelele onke amagatsha la khona la in short ama stakeholders ngekuhlukahlukana kwawo ngibingelele lo hloniphekile laba ku online ngidlule futhi ngibingelele nalaba ku Facebook ngibingelele kakhulu inationally ku virtually sengifinca sihlalo ngivusele kiwo onke amalunga emen sector ngetigodzi kuma locally nato tonke tinhlangothi letikhona ngithi all protocol observed sihlalo angikusho ukuthi endlini kukhulunyiwe tikhulumi tabeka yakhulunyiswa lendzaba yanamhla leside ngayo la lokuyi Mpumalanga Traditional Men's Parliament launch siqale ngekhalalisela inationally kumsebenzi lomuhle labawendile ngeti 17 yona lenyanga lesedulu umhlonishwa labe balontsha khona iNational Traditional Men's Parliament kanye ke futhi nayo iKhoisan namuhla sihlalo siyandlula siyabonga kakhulu futhi eNorthern Cape umsebenzi lomuhle labawendile nabo balontsha itolo namhla kungathi sihlalo ngibonga wonke amathimba la khona la ukuthi bende lo mcimbi lo ube impumelelo sihlalo ukuthi tikhulumile lana ngidawufinca ngenxa yesikhathi angikuchaze sihlalo ukuthi bonke especially lithimba lelingakuwe emhlonishwa ukuthi bajabule kakhulu ngalelisuku lanamhla ngoba bebavele balinzele nabo ukuthi ba recognizewe kukwadi ukukhulunywa kwaletinkinga letikhona esiveni sangakithi ikakhulu eMpumalanga kuthinziwe sihlalo indzaba iaccountability ukuthi konke lesikwendako kufuneka si account kiko kukhulunyile sihlalo indzaba yokuthi funa sitiphathe njani sibobabe kukhulunyiwe sihlalo ikakhulu deputy chairperson uMahlangu kunetinto letinenge latitsinzile emhlonishwa lekusi nangabe sibobabe sidelalele titasakhela umhlahlandlela wekuthi senda njani masisuka la lokuyinsalela ke leyo setulu ukuthi ke sibambane ngetandla sibe munye imensetha kanye na wonke amagatsha lakhona ama stakeholders kuze kuliswane naso lesihlava lesikhona emphakathini kuze kuthi sive sethu sivikeleke especially bomake nebantwana baphile ngekukhululeka futhi ke bangasabi sihlalo angeke ngiye kakhulu ngetikhulumi ngetigaba kodwa ke ndawuthinza nje kutheneni ithinziwe indzaba ye support in terms of public involvement yathinzwa nendzaba ye youth parliament lebekhona lomnyaka lo nayo futhi women parliament sihlalo ithinziwe indzaba ye men's summit kuthi kumele kuthi na kanjani kwendeke lokho ikakhulu kwesihlalo eofficeini lakho indzaba yokuthi ke akube nale implementation nalama report back lekumele abe khona ehlangothini langakini njengamakhosi lelidwa nguye honorable Miss Busishiba kuthi ke mhlonishwa akube nalama implementation latawuthatha indzawo esiveni indzaba ye outreach emhlonishwa ibaleke kakhulu in terms of ma programs ukuthi akube nale implementation ekuhlanganwe etinkundleni kukhulunyiswane njengoba emakhosi advulile tandla ukuthi sikhona besisolo silinzile ukuthi sibe nalo kusebenzisana kuyaphambili kodwa ke kuvelile ukuthi nathi simakhosi njengoba bebabeka bahlonishwa ukuthi ke funa nabo badinuke emakhwapha kuhlola ukuthi ngabe sahamba ngayo into endlela lekumele ngabe sihamba ngayo njengoba live selitshintshe kangaka ingabe lokulesikwendako thina kusahambisana yini nalesikhathi lesikiso kuyavela ke mhlonishwa ukuthi indzaba ye family union yayikhona la khona kuhlalwa khona phasi imindeni kudiscusswe tinkinga temndeni kukhulunyiswana kubonakala sengathi nako lokho mhlonishwa kushabalele kodwa ke emakhosi athi funa lokho kuhlole kubuye kuhlalwe phasi kukhulunyiswane ikakhulu nayo lemisimo leba khona yemimemo la khona leminye la ukuvedile khona sihlalo lokumqoka ukuthi ke leminye lemimemo esikhathini esiningi ayiteleviswa kani kunedinvo letibalekile letindiwako lapho so nako lokho ufuna kubukwe lokusho ukuthi kuyaphambili ufuna sikubukule kwesento esho ukuthi imisebenzi lento ke ebukhosini iyabonakala futhi ke ikhona ku public space lo hloniphekile ngibuye ke ngichaze ukuthi ke njenge main sector kwenta sure ukuthi siya accounta indzaba ye local implementation vele i part and parcel of imisebenzi yethu njengoba iplan yethu ithi funa sende sure ukuthi kuba nema local men's parliament la siya khona ku local kuze sitokhona kuthola le database impact lekhuluma ngayo sathi ukuthi lama organization ladila ngemadvodza nebafana ngwapi kuze akhona kutfola le support ngoba simen sector siyabelievela ukuthi indvo lesuka phasi le kuma locals itawenda lo mehluko nasibambisene ngikusho sihlalo ukuthi kuyaphambili kusuka lana kuthi abanema district traditional men's parliament launch lekumele ukuthi nawo siyogijimisana nawo lokungikuthi lo mnyaka lo ufuna phela sibe sesikwendile lokho mhlonishwa ngibuye futhi ngidlule ngisho ukuthi ke sitakwenda konke lokho sibambisene sonke nawo onke ama stakeholders la khona la ngibuye futhi mhlonishwa ngikuchaze lokho ukuthi ke kuyaphambili nje sidabe sinayo iboys assembly tabe ikhona ngalenyanga ya October la khona abafana funa bakhulunyiswe khona lokusho ukuthi ke indlu yamakhosi yadingeka nayo ukuthi vele itibonakalise lapho utokwadi ukuthi kukhulunyiswane nabo labafana kule boys assembly tabe ikhona mhlonishwa kodwa ke angisho ukuthi sizawu announce ukuthi nini kodwa ke mara yena ngayo lo October sidabe sikwenda lokho asiphinde sisho mhlonishwa ukuthi ke kulo October again iway forward lesinayo again lekumele sisuke la sihambe siyokwenda indzaba yema district men's parliament lokukhona kithi vele kungumthetho mgomo la sihlala khona njengemadvodza sikhulumisane khona njengoba yalonjwa la khona amadvodza onke ama district oyi3 njengala eMpumalanga iHarisibande inkangala neHlanzeni funa lokho kube kwenteka ngoOctober ama date atawuhlelwa kusuka la mhlonishwa kuyaphambili bese ke kuthi ke ngoNovember la sivala khona kulomnyaka sivala ngeprovincial men's parliament nayo itaba ngoNovember idate itawuphuma mhlonishwa la khona emakhosi siyawadinga ukuthi abuye futhi abe kanye nathi la nkundleni sitokhulumisana ukuthi njengoba sesendile lo msebenzi besiwenda sesihambe safika phi ngikuphi la kumele sibambisane khona kuyaphambili tawuthi ke lo mnyaka lotako mhlonishwa siqhubeke before March sibe seswalontshile lama local men's parliament kanye nalama traditional men's parliament lekumele bekhona kanye futhi nawo ke ema boys assembly kulocal lokusho ukuthi senda show mhlonishwa ukuthi accountability bakhona umsebenzi ufuna siubone ikakhulu lanya lesiyakhona to the root cause kuma locals so sidabe swalontsha ke nawo ama local men's parliament kutawuthi nje ngoMarch sibe sesiyende show ukuthi alontshiwe kodwa ngikubambisana nawo magatsha la khona la ikakhulu nendlu yakho mhlonishwa ukuthi sende show ukuthi lo msebenzi uyaphambili mhlonishwa indzaba yokuthi ke ethina nemithetho omgomo lesinayo ufuna sikusho lokho ukuthi sine men's charter nathi iBhayibheli lethu lengasho ukuthi iBhayibheli ngoba likhulumisana nathi sibobabe njengoba ikhona iwomen's charter lekhona ichildren's charter nathi ke sinibobabe sinayo ke imen's charter isaqhubeka nje sisayihambisa la khona baba befuna abathi committee khona basho ukuthi thina njengamadvodza sitibophelele ekutheneni silwisana naso lesihlava ngathi leti indlela letitsite so ke kule local ke mhlonishwa asisho ukuthi kuningi lekusatowendeke ama dialogue ataba khona la khona amadvodza engage khona sitawufika nasebukhosini njengoba sisebenzisana sonke la khona kumele sihlale khona nebukhosi njengoba bashilo ukuthi ama structures akhona la khona usinawufika ebukhosini kunenzawo yabo make labo make ufuna bayokhuluma khona athi inkinga tabo kunenzawo yabo babe labahlala khona kanye futhi nabo bafana nemantombazana mhlonishwa lokho kutabe kwendeka sitawenda show ukuthi siya implementa asisho ke mhlonishwa ukuthi asitick ibox ukuthi sisendile lokuthide but ke ufuna sibone ngemsebenzi leqhubukako masiya phambili ngikubambisana nawo onke amagatsha la khona ikakhulu i-social development sibonga kakhulu futhi ke nayo le support lesitfolako mhlonishwa ngoba namhlanje silana sibambisana nawo lamagatsha lawa bo MPEG sibambisana nawo singabala singacethi mhlonishwa but nje ngibo bantu labento asho ukuthi imisebenzi yethu yaphumelela angikundlulise ke mhlonishwa sengidayisonga ngisho ukuthi siyayibonga kakhulu isupport lebuya ku national bayaseseka kakhulu sithi noma sikhala bavele abasineglect ngoba bayade ukuthi sibantu bababo siyacela ke nakini ke mhlonishwa ukuthi sisatawufika nakini njengoba sibambisene sisho ukuthi omadoda idubukele ngala asibambisaneni asingatholakali sekungathi lo muntu usebenza yedvana sokushiya lo munye nakule mimemo siyafuna kuba khona nakwendi umemo kuze kukhona ukuthi leti inkinga lekufana naleti di discusswe lapho sengistayitsonga ke mhlonishwa ngisho ukuthi we call all organizations wa in the field we call all stakeholders la khona sibita onke ama department ukuthi lena isimbi yemen sector yodwana imbi yethu sonke ngoba if you are not infected you are affected so lokwendeka eceleni ngakuthola nawe kusasa ungakubukela ekudzeni dithathe nawe njengemuntu omele ulethe lelo litshintsho emphakathini sengisonga ke mhlonishwa sibonga onke amagatsha la futhi ngiphinze ngisho mhlonishwa ikakhulu lo office lakho kusisupporta nekusivulela tandla since sagogodza lomdzala sathi nasifika kulomnyaka lophelile sifikela kulomdzala umhlonishwa Chief Dlamini wasivulela tandla sayichaza lenzaba ukuthi sitawubuya sitowenda lo msebenzi namhla sila umhlonishwa so lokho ngileke sisho ukuthi siya account kulesikwendako asithiki box siyabonga kakhulu kusekelwa ekiwonke amagatsha lalana ema stakeholders tikhulumi letibe khona dathula tinkulumo letibaleke kakhulu siyacela nabo ukuthi bangathi njengoba sesithulele tinkulumo lana emisebenzini labayendako bese banyamalala sitabafuna mhlonishwa but angeke sibafune kamnanzi ngoba asithi masilast ticket box kodwa sifuna abantu babe accountable so sitabafuna babuye nabo silwe lembisi sonke siyabonga kakhulu bangakhathali nama programs labawenda kabasibide sikuba khona sikhulume lenzaba mhlonishwa ngaphandle kwekumosha isikhathi ngibonga kakhulu kuwo wonke lo lana nalabo labahluphile labasuka ekutheni bafika la kulenkundla benda show ukuthi bayimpumelelo sibonga nalabo laba respondile masimemeda ukuthi idubukele ngala basukuma ekakhulu eofisini lakho bavunula njengoba ubona labanye labahle namhla sigubha lona lisuku nje kusasa le Heritage Day kukhombisa ukuthi lisiko lakhaya lahlwa ngakho ke namhla sinani la siyabonga kakhulu lomdzala ngaphandle kwekumosha isikhathi ngawuthi Nkosi
siyabonga kakhulu amathebula as we conclude makhosami sifuna ukuthi indeed siya anticipate kakhulu kulonchwa kwawo lama district traditional men's parliament sitawumela sibone ukuthi sukusupport kakhulu nami nje kuma closing remarks ngifuna ukusho nje bakhosami ukuthi adding to Baba Mathebula ukuthi we should carry out ilona isibuke nje u reviewer angathi ndo seku reviewer noma I research ngale component yetindvuna sibuke ukuthi what sinayipi mhlambe I capacity lekhona lapho ifuna I training njani emakhaya ngoba leli vessel cishe liyagijima makhosami so kuyafuneka ukuthi si traineke sambe ngalolu kwenteka manje indzaba ye LGBTIQ ngile bulili tindvuna tami bulili lobufanako we cannot ignore it anymore ikhona I think asibuke nayo sicela nisibekedeleleni nani as we filter this down to our people kodwa we know ukuthi while we are waiting nisibeketela we know ukuthi vele murder is murder whether you kill a woman or a child or a man or an LGBTQI murder is murder you have killed a human being kuhlungubeta noma buhlungubeta indvodza noma buhlungubeta abantu we'll keep that in mind while we filter it down to ebantwini bethu sitawuphusha futhi for the establishment ye police traditional policing forum nesabs we already started it will launch khona la Mpumalanga for the whole country. I think Mpumalanga will be the first one to launch a traditional policing forum. We are hoping kutawendeka soon ngoba funa sithi isambeni sibe ma partners kule traditional men's forum. We need to include SAPS ibe part of us. We still need to go out to renew a relationship between Tsine netinyanga. You know kunemsimeto lefuna yendiwe ekhaya esiveni kude kube nekuthula esiveni siphila njalo ke Tsine siyahamba siyobuta uthi sive sikhutha njani uma umhlaba lenkomo lapha idliwa njani kude lesive sitoba nekuthula uma kukhuteke kanye sintu sethu leso ufuna sithi inyanga tibe part of this traditional men's parliament lokunye vele bese kakhulumile bamathebula ememeni will include ba programs imen sector ukuthi ikhulume nayo most of all as I conclude Makosam let's be productive on the land siyaduthi sithi bobabe ngibona banemhlaba kakhulu labalimako kodwa I think men must tend the soil so that ba reduce the stress labanaso kude kube nokuthula ekhaya siyabonga kakhulu kini nonke imbokodo sibonile lapha ivunulile nayo imbokodo sisho laba labaseba bahambe bafika lapha kulesigaba sabomake umntwana wentombatane awu umntwana nje asimbokodo umntwana lokufuna kuthandwa anakekelwe agayidwe imbokodo sisho labaqinile so esintwini sethu siyabonga kakhulu nani majaya embutho libutho likhona lapha ngiyacabanga lababuya embuleni because bamise yesa launcher traditional men's parliament lapha embuleni waba kuhle bathi bona nje namhla nabutho unalento yachubeka angeke stoppa kakhulu sengicedzile ngala kimi wondaba ezitha Makhosami sibonga kakhulu nakuwe mhlonishwa make njalo ukuthi sibe khona la we know ukuthi ni ufacene ne province yonke sibonga kakhulu nakusomlomo ukuthi athumele umntana enkosi lapha lamdluli lapha kuswa nani men's sector for starting this program since about 2014 I believe nibambile niyabona ukuthi asale sithatha ne wisdom yemakhosi ukuthi nawo asincedise ekulweni na kulokubi lesikubonako la eSouth Africa ukune announcement lekhona la Makhosami ufuna ukundlulisa la babe Ngoza uthi ngisale ngindlulisa bathi ukhona ukugeza tandla la ngaphandle ningahambi ningabambisi sibonga kakhulu sathemba ukuthi sesitawu tsinzana futhi sibona ukuthi kuhamba njani sitawu tincingo ma emails akhona siphinde sihlangane futhi sibonga kakhulu nakundlunankulu siyathi ukuthi noma angekho la physical kodwa unathi kulo mkhankaso kakhulu siyabonga siyavala umhlangano thank you sicela ukuthi mhlambe kube namfundisi noma ngibalo hola moya nkosiyami kumane nje asibongele enkosini ukuthi asicele indlela sambe kahle nekudla kudleke kahle noma ngabe ngibani singabonga kakhulu
usisa babe ukudla ngegama lika Jesu Kristu sikapule futhi sihambe babe siyekiza